And what you did was almost like out of a movie.
How long did you spy? How long did you spy on Mr. Scardarossi and the interior of the home?
I think I need to get her a lawyer.
In today's video, an estranged husband is facing serious charges after a late-night confrontation with his wife. But as the details unfold, the defense drops a bombshell that stops everything in its tracks. We've got all 3 hearings and the final outcome. And let's just say, things spiral fast. Everything's time-stamped in the description. And trust me, you're going to want to see how this ends.
Good morning. And your name, sir?
Andrew Scardarossi.
All right. Today is the date scheduled for a preliminary examination. We have 3 counts, but the third is a misdemeanor. So we're going to proceed to examine on count 1, felonious assault, and count 2, felony firearm. Any preliminary matters, either one of you? Ms. Holloway?
Just a mutual sequestration order.
All right. I'm going to order all witnesses, with the exception of the officer in charge and the defendant, have to leave the courtroom immediately. So all witnesses in this case, with the exception of the officer in charge and the defendant, are to leave the courtroom. He what?
I was just saying the detective is on his way.
Okay. Any other preliminary matters?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Call your first witness, please.
The people call Chantel Scardarossi to the stand.
Okay. Ma'am, you can come right up here, wherever she is.
We need to go grab her.
None of these are witnesses back here, either for today or the time of trial, correct?
No,
Lisa, I thought you said I had one more case besides this one. Am I wrong?
Yeah, there's a Randy Schumacher, but they're not on Zoom.
Okay.
he hasn't checked any yet.
I'll deal with that after. Ms. Scardarossi, you can come right up here. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you will give in these proceedings will be the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, have a seat, please. I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up nice and loud for all of us, okay? And speak direct into that microphone if you would. And is your first name spelled Chantel?
Yes.
Middle name Anne, A-N-N-E?
Yes.
And the last name again is Skardarasy, correct?
Yes.
You can proceed, Ms. Holloway.
Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record?
Chantel Scardarossi.
Ms. Scardarossi, I'm going to take you back to April 10th, 2024. Do you recall that day?
Yes.
Did something happen on that day that brings you to court today?
Yes.
Can you tell me about what happened starting from the beginning?
I was attacked by my husband.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there. You said your husband. What was his name?
Andrew Scardarossi.
Okay, and do you see Andrew Scardarossi in the court today?
Yes.
Okay, and can you identify him by telling me the color of the shirt he's wearing?
Blue.
Let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
The record should so reflect.
Okay, so you said he attacked you. Can you tell me, where were you on this day?
I had come to his house at
Okay, and where is his house located?
25801 Chelsea Creek Lane in Brownstown.
Okay, is that city of Brownstown, county of Wayne?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what happened when you got to the house.
I came to the house. I turned off the cameras so that the phone wouldn't go off. I needed to get a code off of his phone or his laptop.
So let me stop you there. Were you living in the home at this time?
I had been separated for a week at the time.
I'm sorry, separated for what?
We had separated a week earlier, so I was staying with my mom.
Okay. Did you live at this home prior to that week?
Yes.
And were you allowed to go in, come and go to the home as you pleased in this week that you were separated?
I apologize, Your Honor. I'm just going to object to the question about what she allowed. She can say what she believed, but they're separated and he was living there.
All right, rephrase your question if you would. Was there any agreement between the two of you as to whether or not you were going to go back to the property or could go back to the property?
He was trying at the time to get back together. So yes, in the mornings I would get the kids ready for school and I would go into the house after school and get their things and take them home.
Okay. So tell me what happened after you had got to the home.
So I got his phone. I drove down the street to try to get a code sent to it without him waking up. I was afraid of him waking up.
Wait a minute. I'm getting old. You got to keep your voice up, okay?
I'm sorry.
You got his phone,
Yeah.
and then what?
So I drove down to Kroger in the parking lot to try to get a code sent to his phone. There was spyware put on my laptop that I'd asked him to take off. And in order to get it off, you have to have a code sent to either an email address or a phone. So I was trying to get that.
And so let's just go back for a second. I want to know, what time did you first go to the home?
Midnight, around midnight.
It was around midnight. And then what time? So when you went in, did you grab his phone?
I did grab his phone. I tried his laptop first.
Okay. And then did you leave?
Yes.
And where did you go?
Down the street to the Kroger parking lot.
Okay. About how long were you there?
About 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. And then what did you do next?
I drove back to the house and brought the phone back.
Okay. Tell me what happened when you got back to the house.
He was awake. He was angry. He accused me of taking money of his.
Okay. And when you say he, who do you mean?
Andy.
Okay. Was anybody else in the home at this time?
No.
Okay. So tell me what he was saying to you.
He accused me of taking his money. I said I didn't take his money, but I had his phone. And I walked through into the kitchen and tossed it on the table.
Okay. And tell me what happened next.
I walked back through, there's a gate that separates the front room and the kitchen. So I walked back through the gate and I shut it.
Okay, and I just want to get a clearer picture. You said there was a gate separating the kitchen and where?
The front room, like the foyer.
Okay, and is the foyer, is that right at the front door?
Yes.
Okay, and so tell me what happened when you got out of the kitchen.
I shut the gate. He kept asking me where his money was. He walked to the end of his kitchen table and picked up his gun.
Okay, and I'm going to stop you there. Did you see a gun there prior?
Yes.
Okay, and so tell me, what did he do next?
He picked up the gun. He walked towards the gate. I made kind of a joke, like, "Are you going to shoot me?"
Okay, and I'm going to stop you again. About how far were you and the gun?
Probably from me to you at the time. It was on the table that far away.
Okay.
So what would you say? That's about 20, 25 feet?
I
want to say it's 15.
It's the length of a kitchen table. I mean, I know probably the table was that long, and then there was the gate and me.
Okay, so you tell me, can you estimate the distance?
I would say about 15 feet, if I had to guess.
Okay. And so, tell me what happened. What happened next?
He walked through the gate. He stared at me for a second. When I asked him if he was going to shoot me, he said yes. And then he grabbed me from the back of my hair, pushed me up against the closet that was behind us.
Okay. And so where is this closet located?
So it's directly in the middle between the kitchen and the foyer. It's right next to the gate.
And so tell me what happened next.
He had his pistol in his hand and put it underneath my chin.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there. Do you remember what this pistol, as you said, looked like?
Yes.
What color was it?
It was black.
Okay, about how big was it?
About this big. It was a 9mm Smith & Wesson.
What is that? About 4 inch, 5 inches, 4 inches?
About 5, I would say.
Okay, and to your knowledge, was that his gun?
Yes.
And did he point it at your neck?
Yes, under my chin.
Under your chin. What part of the gun was on your neck?
The barrel, the top of the gun.
Okay. And did you observe at all if his finger was on the trigger?
Yes, as he was bringing it to my neck, I could see it.
So tell me, what was he saying to you in that moment?
He said, "Give me my," can I swear?
You should quote exactly what he said.
He said, "Give me my fucking money." And I said, "I don't have your money." And he said, "I'm going to fuck." very calmly.
And at this time, when you were up against the closet, was his hand still on the back of your head?
Yes,
Was he grabbing your hair?
yes.
And so tell me what happened next.
I just stared at him while he was saying those things and said, I don't have your money. He told me, he said, I'm going to kill you. And then he said, do you know who else I'm going to kill? And then he turned around, looked up at our kids' bedrooms. There's one on one side of the upstairs, one on the other. And he looked at me and said, everyone, very quietly.
Okay, and then what happened next?
I got kind of smart mouthed and said, you better hope so.
Okay. And how were you feeling in this moment?
I was scared and angry.
And were you in fear for your life at this time?
Yeah. Yes.
So tell me what happened next.
He held it there for a second. And then he was wearing gray sweatpants at the time. He took the gun down from my neck. He put it in his waistband of his sweatpants while he was laughing.
And what did you do next?
I just watched him slowly put it in his waistband.
And then what happened?
So he slowly put it in his waistband, and then he looked up at me, and then he pretended like he was going to punch me in the face. Stopped about 1 inch from my face.
Tell me what happened next.
The dog got really excited from the other side of the gate, pushed through the gate and jumped up on him. We had a Rottweiler, so he was pretty big.
And what did he do when this happened?
It knocked him down, and that's when I turned and ran out the door.
When you ran out the door, what did you do?
I called the police and went to my vehicle.
I'm sorry.
I ran to my car and called the police.
So did the police arrive?
No, I drove to the police station.
And at the police station, which police station was it?
Brownstown Police Station?
And when you got there, were you able to speak to an officer?
Yes.
Did you tell them what happened?
Yes.
Did you write a statement?
Yes.
Did you? Actually, I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Cross.
Ready for me? Absolutely. I'm going to call you Ms. Scottarassi. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
Contrary to the judge's own self-derogatory comment, he's not getting any older. So he hasn't lost a wink of hair. He hasn't gained a single wrinkle in all the years that I've been in front of him. So, Ms. Scottarassi, I'm going to ask you some questions, okay?
Okay.
So let me start with going back to the date of this incident. You were April 10th, right?
Yes.
You were married at that time, correct?
Yes.
But separated, right?
Yes.
Now let's talk about separation for a moment. When I say separated, prior to your official separation, you and Mr. Scottarassi had been living together. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then one of you moved out, right?
Yes.
You moved out.
Yes.
You went to go stay with your parents.
Yes.
And you were staying with your parents on the date of the incident. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, let's fast forward to your conversation with the police department on April 10th, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to say yes or no. Those aren't my rules. Those are just in order to make the court reporter able to type down what you say. Do you understand?
Yes.
When you went to the police department on April 10th, you walked into the Brownstown Police Department. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, you understood, you were there to tell the police department what you say occurred. Is that right?
Yes.
And you understood it was important to be truthful with the police. Is that true?
Yes.
And you understood how important it was to tell them an accurate account of what you say took place. Is that right?
Yes.
And you understood it was important to tell them all parts of the story, no matter the good, the bad, and the ugly. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And the officers actually spoke with you. 2 officers spoke with you, I believe, out in the lobby originally, correct?
I believe so.
And then they asked you to write out a written statement. Is that right?
Yes.
And you were truthful with the police. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
And that you were truthful when you wrote out your written statement, correct?
Yes.
Now, when you wrote out your written statement, I'm just may I approach the witness for a moment,
Yes.
Your Honor? Ma'am, may I? I'm just going to show her a written statement just to verify this is it. May I approach you, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. I just asked that just so I don't startle you, okay?
Okay.
I just want to verify, I'm not seeking to admit it. I just want to verify that, just take a look. What this looks like, your statement, it's 2 pages. Just take a look at that and make sure that's the correct statement. Is that it? And you signed it at the bottom, is that correct?
Yes.
And you didn't just tell part of the story in your written statement, you told exactly what happened, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go through if we could. Now, prior to April 10th of 2024, the day or night of this incident, you had actually been anticipating, again, I don't want to know what you and a lawyer talked about, but you had been anticipating filing divorce. Is that correct?
No.
You had not spoken with a divorce lawyer. Again, I'm not looking for content. You had not spoken with a divorce lawyer prior to April 10th, 2024?
Okay, yes.
You had, correct?
Yes.
All right. And Mr. Scottarassi on April 10th owned a business, didn't he?
Yes.
And he's 100%, he's the only shareholder, the only owner of the business. Is that true?
Yes.
Am I correct?
On paper, yes.
Well, that's all there is. He's the owner, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you ended up going to, on April 10th, and let me be real clear, you went to the house, right?
Yes.
To his house.
Yes.
And let's go through and talk about the things that you did in preparation for going to the house, okay? He has a business. Where's the business located?
In Ecorse. I'm sorry, in Romulus on Ecorse Road.
Okay, you just keep your voice up. I don't know.
In Romulus on Ecorse Road.
Thank you.
And I think it may be easier I think that microphone actually amplifies, doesn't it, Judge?
Yes, it does.
So I think it may be easier if you talk right into it, okay?
Yep. Yes.
So the business is in Romulus, right?
Yes.
What's the name of the business? Now, it's a landscaping business, yes?
Yes.
It's not open at midnight or 1 a.m., is it?
No.
Objection, Your Honor. I understand where he's trying to go. I think this is a bit out of the scope of the testimony. He needs to speed this up and get to the point.
Overruled.
Thank you. You actually went to that business, didn't you?
Yes.
You went to that business prior to going to the home, correct?
Yes.
Now, and when you went to the business, you actually the business wasn't open for business at midnight or 1 a.m., was it?
No.
And you didn't tell Mr. Scottarassi that you were going to the business that was closed at 12 or 1 a.m., did you?
I don't believe so.
Right, because you were trying to sneak there.
Yes.
You were trying to be secretive,
Yes.
clandestine.
Not sure what that means.
It means secretive.
So yes.
Okay. You went to the business. You entered into the business with, I presume, a key of some sort, correct?
Yes, my key.
And you then attempted to, again, you have a key to the business, yes?
Yes.
But your key to the business is to allow you to access the business to do certain things, right? Like there's things you can do that are authorized and things that you can't do that are authorized.
No.
So you could go there and you could just tear the place apart if you wanted.
If I wanted to.
So you believe you could go there at midnight or 1 a.m. and you could just throw all the computers out, throw all the paperwork out, you could burn the place down, and that would be within your authority.
I believe that's illegal, so no.
I'm sorry?
I believe that's illegal, so
Right,
no.
we're going to talk about that in a second. So you did some booking and paperwork for the business, is that right? Some billing and paperwork, right?
That and some more, yes.
That and some more.
I didn't hear that.
That and some more,
Okay.
yes. Sorry.
Now, the reason why I asked that is that you went there at 1 a.m. And you gained access to the building, to the office. Yes.
Yes.
You sat down in front of a computer. Yes.
Yes.
You turned the computer on, right?
Yes.
And then you actually sat down and tried to do things on the computer for yourself.
Yes.
Not for the business, but for you personally.
Yes.
What'd you try to do in the computer at that point?
I try to get the code for.
Right, but tell me specifically, you had to type in a password or something to access the computer, correct?
Yes,
Did you use your own name, or do you have to use like a name and code to enter the access to the computer?
I used my login.
You used your login after hours when it was closed.
Yes.
And then you attempted to gain access to this computer. Now, is there anything that says that you were able to go to the business at 1 a.m. to attempt to access the business and the computer? You have the authority to do that?
Yes.
What is there that says you have the authority to do that?
Text messages from my husband.
Okay. So you texted him that night to say, can I go to the business at 1 a.m. and access it and access the computer?
Can I?
I just want to know if you have a message from that night.
Sort of, yes.
You do. You have a message from that night.
Saying I needed the code and I was going to get it.
Wait a minute, saying that what?
Saying that I needed the code and I was going to get it. I didn't specify where though, if that's
Right. You didn't tell him you're going to the business.
No,
Just like you didn't say you're coming to the house.
no,
Just like you didn't say you're going to actually access the computer after hours.
right,
Just like you didn't say you're going to actually attempt to take his phone.
right,
Just like you didn't say you're going to actually attempt to access his laptop.
right.
Let's talk about those things. So after going to the business and attempting to gain access to this computer, you were unsuccessful in that way, correct? You weren't able to gain access to what you wanted to or what you needed to, correct?
Correct,
You then left that business. Yes?
correct.
What time did you leave the business?
I can't remember the time.
By the way, when you asked Mr. Scottarossi on the phone to access the computer, or you needed the code, did he say okay?
At one point, yes.
At one point, he didn't say go ahead, come get it from me, or go to the. He didn't tell you that it was okay to do any of these things that I just went through, did he?
No.
You then left the business, and what did you do? Where did you go from there?
To his house.
To his house, and what did you do when you got to his house?
I turned off the cameras and tried to get the code.
Let's pause for a second. You actually monitored the security system at his house, correct?
Correct.
Where were you sitting when you were monitoring the security system at his house?
Sitting?
Yeah, where were you?
I was,
You were in your car.
no, I don't have access. I didn't have access at that time.
Where did you have access? How did you access the security system, and how were you monitoring?
Oh, wait, no, the kitchen one. I did. Yes, I had the kitchen one. I'm sorry.
The kitchen
I was
one.
from my car. Yes.
You were sitting in your car monitoring the kitchen,
Yes.
and you were monitoring the kitchen camera because there's a kitchen camera that actually looks out over the kitchen and the living room, correct?
Correct. Yes.
How long did you spy? I'll call it that. How long did you spy on Mr. Scottarossi and the interior of the home?
I looked while I was at the office to see if he was sleeping.
So you were, I mean, that's further, I'm going to call it secretive, spying, sneaking, right?
Yes.
And what were you looking for?
I wanted to see if he was sleeping, so I could
Because
get
you
the
wanted to
code.
go to the house and not let him be aware that you were attempting to sneak or enter into his house without his knowing, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
So you went from one place where you snuck in, which is the business, and then you went to the house and you were monitoring to see if you could sneak in there.
I wouldn't say sneaking in. I was allowed access at all times.
Well, I know that's what you're saying now, but we'll talk about that in a second. You didn't just walk in at midnight or 1 a.m.
No, I used my key.
Right. Let's talk about that. You then, you actually, you were monitoring his behavior. Yes. You were
His-
watching him on your phone.
Yes, I checked to see if he was sleeping.
Right. How many times?
A few times, I would assume.
And then when you determined that he was sleeping, you then walked up to the front door. Tell me how you walked up to the front door of the house.
I walked up and I took the Ring camera off.
Let's be a little more detailed, because that's not an entirely accurate description of what you did, is it?
Well, when you walk by the Ring camera, it alerts your phone and it starts ringing.
So what did you do? So let's be honest. Let's just not tell half the story.
Mhm.
That was not a complete rendition of what you did to attempt to hide your approach to the house, was it?
No, I stepped up onto the porch from the side and I took the
Right. So
Ring
show
camera
us.
off.
There's a pilaster or a pole, correct? Like a
Correct.
pole, like a column.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is that a yes, ma'am?
Yes.
And what you did was almost like out of a movie.
I wouldn't say that. I wasn't
Well-
very stealthy. I saw the camera footage.
You were pretty stealthy. You tried to be stealthy.
I tried not to alert it as many times as I could.
We can just your purpose, but you tried to be stealthy.
Sure. Yes.
And what you did is you walked up to the column or the pole and you tried to hide your body behind the pole or the column, right?
I stood next to the Ring camera and I took it off so that I wasn't alerting the Ring camera.
Just answer my question if you could. Did you stand next to the column and try to hide your body with the column?
I remember leaning against the house so that I could take the Ring camera off. I can't remember exactly where I was standing.
There's a column there, isn't there?
Like a pillar? Is that what you're talking
the column in
about?
front of the house, yeah.
Yeah, it holds up the porch.
Yeah, right. And that's what you stood behind.
I remember standing next to the Ring camera. I would assume that's where I was standing. I'm not sure though.
So, Judge, can you hear okay?
I'm sorry. I assume that's where I was standing. I just remember specifically standing next to the Ring camera to take it off.
Your voice up for me, okay?
Okay,
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
And what you did then was you actually had your phone in your hand, watching the interior of the house.
I don't believe I did when I was up on the porch, but I could have.
You then attempted to reach up to the Ring camera, right? And you attempted to pull the battery out.
I took the battery out, yes.
Yeah. I'm just going to ask you a very direct question. Did Mr. Scatarassi tell you at that time that he didn't tell you it was okay to remove the battery or disable the exterior security camera, did he?
No, he did not.
You then you entered into the house, didn't you?
Yes,
Now, there is this camera that's in the kitchen, am I correct?
yes,
Now, there are counters, there's a counter, and then there's a middle island in the kitchen, isn't there?
yes.
And when you entered into the kitchen, tell me if I'm wrong, what you attempted to do is you actually got down relatively low, right? Between the counter and the island.
No,
And there's a dog that's in the house, right?
yes.
Where was the dog when you entered into the kitchen?
He was in the kitchen.
He was in the kitchen?
Yes, he was.
That's not true, is it?
I believe he was in the kitchen. He's locked in the kitchen.
What did you do with the dog when you came into the kitchen?
Well, he has a dresser that blocks the kitchen to the back room. And when I moved the dresser, the dog came from the kitchen and ran through the house.
What did you do? Well, let me ask the question differently. Isn't it true that you beckoned the dog over to you?
No,
Isn't it true that you told that you beckoned the dog over to you so that he wouldn't wake up Mr. Scatarassi?
no.
Didn't you tell the police that?
I left the dog in the front room so that he wouldn't wake up.
Question. Didn't you tell the police that?
I told the police that I left the dog in the front room so that he wouldn't wake up Andy.
Okay. Isn't it true that you beckoned the dog over?
I didn't beckon him over. He came through himself.
He came through. And when you're in the kitchen, what you did is you actually reached up and you disabled that security camera in the kitchen as well, didn't you?
Yes, it kept going off.
It kept going off, so you disabled it.
Yes.
So now, at that point, I want to be real clear. Mr. Scatarassi was sleeping.
Yes.
And what you did at that point was, Mr. Scatarassi, you took his phone, right?
At that point, I tried to get in his laptop.
You tried to get in his laptop. This is his laptop.
Yes.
And you took the laptop and you were in the kitchen at that point?
It was sitting on the table already.
So you're in the kitchen at that point.
Yes.
And you open it up, correct?
Yes.
And then you attempted to type in an access code, didn't you?
Yes.
And again, he never gave you permission that night to enter into his laptop, correct?
That night, no.
Right. And you didn't ask him for permission that night to enter into his laptop, particularly in this manner, did you?
No.
And when you tried to type in a code to get access to his laptop?
Yes.
Did you guess at the code?
It was changed.
It was changed.
Yes.
We're going to come back to that in a second. When you couldn't gain access, how many times did you try to access his laptop?
I would say 1 or 2 times.
One or two times.
I'm not sure.
Then when you weren't able to do that, you then took his phone.
Yes.
And where was Mr. Scotarassi's phone when you took it?
Sitting next to him on the couch.
So you snuck over to where he was on the couch,
Yes.
just quiet as possible. Yes?
Yes.
In an effort not to wake him.
Yes.
You then took his phone, like off the counter with your hand. Yes.
Off the couch. Yes.
Off the couch. Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
And then you didn't just attempt to open it up in the house, did you?
No.
You actually walked out of the house, right?
Yes.
You then got into your car, correct?
Yes.
And then you drove your car to the end of the block. Yes?
To Kroger. Yes.
To Kroger. And then you sat there for how long trying to gain access to his phone?
About 10 minutes, because it took me about 15 minutes to get home.
How many times did you type in how many codes did you try to enter?
I tried to get the code sent to his phone, so to see if it would pop up on the screen. I would say I tried the code a few times.
You tried to get the code sent to his phone. Tell us what you mean.
He put spyware on my laptop. I had been asking him to give me the code to take it off, and so he wouldn't.
I mean, there are companies that you can hire, like Micro Center and others, to look at computers, right?
Yeah.
Did you hire one of those?
No.
Okay. So you attempted to get a code sent to his phone. From what?
From my computer.
Okay.
The spyware on my computer.
Okay. So
It
you
needed
tried
an
to get.
access code.
I'm interested specifically in your admitted attempt to access his phone without his permission. I'm asking you about that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You tried. That's a yes. You
Yes.
tried that 5 times or so in a 10-minute period of time.
I wouldn't say 5. I would have gotten locked out.
Was his
Objection, mischaracterization. I mean, she said a few times. I asked and answered as well.
okay?
It's just.
Rephrase.
Sure.
Move on.
I think I've gotten the answer, Judge. Wasn't the phone actually locked out after you returned it to Mr. Scatarassi?
I can't remember.
Okay, so you might have tried enough times to have locked it out.
It is
Okay.
possible.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think so, but it's possible.
Now, you then brought the phone back to the house, correct?
Yes.
And then this incident, according to you, there's this incident that you've described that you say takes place in the house, correct?
Yes.
Then after that, we know that you went down to the police department, correct? And that's when you made this statement to the police department.
Yes.
All right. Now, when you spoke with the police, you never told the police that you, originally when you talked to the 2 police officers, I think it's officers Lieb and Officer Roberts, but Officer Lieb certainly, let me make sure I have the names correct, Your Honor. Officer Lieb, when you first sat down, or you first talked to Officer Lieb, you went through what you say took place. You didn't tell him that you disabled the exterior camera, did you?
Yes, I did. In
You
the
swear-
camera footage?
Let
I
me
swear.
answer. Let me just follow up with that. When you first walked into the police department and you went through your rendition of what you say took place, you swear on your oath
On
as
my
a
own.
witness that
And
you
let him
told
finish the
Officer
question.
that you told Officer Lieb at that moment that you disabled the exterior camera.
I don't remember the exact moment that I told them,
So-
but I did tell them in the police station that I disabled the
Right.
cameras.
I'm
I
talking
swear.
about, ma'am, you have to listen to my question. I understand that this is a difficult experience testifying, but my questions are very focused on specific moments. So let me ask it again. I want to know, are you swearing on your oath as a witness that in your initial rendition of what you say took place to Officer Lieb, that you told him that you disabled the exterior camera to the house? Yes or no?
Can you explain what initial?
Originally, when you walked into the police department.
I can't recall the exact moment that I told them in the police station, but I
Right.
did in the police
A
station.
few
tell them
moments
that.
ago, I asked you if you told them when you first walked in, and you said you were certain that you said yes. Now you can see that that may not be true. Is that right?
Well, I obviously didn't hear the rest of your sentence. That's why you had to say it again.
Are you, ma'am, I'm just asking you a direct question. If you don't want to answer it, you just say, Mr. Rocket, I don't want to answer it.
It is in the police report, I believe.
Okay. I'm going to ask you again. Have you read the police report?
Not since that night.
What police report did you read?
Well, I reread it after I wrote it.
Right. So I want to be clear. Your testimony is, again, I'm going to be real focused. I asked you a few moments ago whether when you walked into the police department and told officer and spoke with Officer Lee, is it, and I said, are you swearing on your oath that you told Officer Lee at that moment when you first were discussing what you say took place, that you disabled the exterior camera? And your answer was yes. Is that?
Then yes, I do believe when I first went in there, I did say something.
Okay. And then at that same, and you're swearing again on your oath as a witness that you at that same time told the police officer, Officer Lee, that you had disabled the kitchen camera. Is that right?
Can you give me a time frame when you
No,
say that same time?
Ma'am, I'm being as precise as I can be.
Okay, then yes,
And
I
that's-
do swear that when
and
I was in the police station, I told the story from beginning to end.
Okay. And then you wrote out your written statement. Is that correct?
Correct.
You got a subsequent phone call from the police department, didn't you, after you left?
I did.
And that's just, it was the same officers that were speaking with you in the police department, correct?
Correct.
And do you, just to answer this yes or no, do you recall the substance of that conversation?
I believe so.
You do.
Yes.
The substance of the conversation was a question by the officers to you about things that you had not disclosed to them. Isn't that true?
No.
Oh, never mind.
Now, today you testified that you told Mr. Scatarassi took this, according to this gun, and that he put it up to your chin. That's what yes, that's what you're testifying to.
Then yes.
But you never told, and you took a finger and you held it up to your neck. You didn't tell the police that night, did you?
Yes, I did.
Isn't it true that you told the police that evening that Mr. Scatarassi, according to you, had put this gun, that he had taken it and put it next to your head? Yes or no?
No.
Isn't that that's not what you said?
I said he put it to my head.
Didn't you show the police where you say he put it?
I did, yes.
And is it your testimony that you actually told the police that he put it to your neck like you just showed us?
Yes.
Right? Isn't it true that that's a lie? That is not what took place.
No.
And that's not what you told the police.
No.
You told the police that he had it beside your head.
This is, in my opinion, beside my
Well,
head.
ma'am, you're making a
To my
very
neck.
distinct showing of your fingers to your neck with what looks like
In
a gun.
the body camera footage of me talking to the police, it says that he put it up to my neck,
All right.
beside my head.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you these questions. When have you read the police report? Not your written statement. When have you read the police report?
My lawyer did get it, but I haven't read it.
Your
since he's
lawyer
given it
got
to
the
me.
police report
Yes.
because you're referencing a police report. When have you seen the body cam?
I did watch the body camera footage when my lawyer subpoenaed it. I'm not sure when. I think
Your
it was
lawyer in the
last month.
divorce case subpoenaed it.
Yes.
Okay. And your testimony is that, just to be clear, just so we're again, you took two fingers with your thumb, which is supposed to sort of simulate the hammer of the gun, and you put them up to your neck like this. Yes?
When I was explaining it, yes.
And your testimony is that this is what you showed the police when you went to the police department. Yes or no? Yes or no?
I explained to the police exactly.
Ma'am, I'm just asking you
Where
a
he
direct
placed
question.
it on
We're
my
not going
neck.
to play this. I'm asking you a direct
Okay, but
question.
in fairness,
I feel like
she,
it's-
hang on. In fairness, she pointed to the left side of her.
Oh, left side. I'm sorry. Left side.
And
Is
you
that-
had yours on the right side.
Yes, sir. If that was the confusion, is that the confusion with my question, that I was using the wrong side?
You're also placing it like this. I explained it like this.
Okay. So for the record, that's the distinction you were drawing,
Yes.
just fingers and hammer up like this. The weapon, according to you, was holstered, wasn't it?
Yes.
It never left its holster, correct?
No.
The actual, if I understand correctly, the trigger would be blocked by the holster. Am I correct?
No. It was half off.
I'm sorry?
He had his hand on the trigger with it still sitting on the top.
And you told the police that he had his finger on the trigger.
Yes.
So, ma'am, I want to show you when the police actually called you back the second time. Excuse me, that's a poorly worded question. After you left the police department and the police actually, they called you, we talked about that phone call, right? And the police questioned you about your disabling of the cameras, both in the front of the house and in the and in the kitchen, correct?
Yes, they did.
And they questioned why you hadn't told them about that, correct?
No.
All right, I'm going to approach.
In that first statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Show her the statement.
I'm sorry?
Was that the other one, Trevor?
This is the same one. May I approach?
Yes.
May I approach you, ma'am?
Yes.
I want you to take out your written, this is your written statement.
Okay.
May I approach again?
Yes.
Yes.
May I approach you, ma'am?
Yes.
This is a pen. If you would, read that to yourself. And would you make a check mark, if you would, next to the spot where you wrote that Mr. Scadarossi, where you wrote that you disabled the exterior camera? Just before
The police asked me specifically
Ma'am?
to put on what happened during the assault and not that. During the body camera footage,
Hang on one sec. Let's
Yes.
slow down.
it's not on.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think even if you're not going to move to admit that, we should at least have that
I have no
marked.
problem with that.
So let's have it marked defense 1. Do you want me to have a copy made for you? Is that your
I
only
have a
copy?
But I don't have, you can have this copy.
Okay, so have that marked defense 1.
I'm not moving to the.
I understand. Yes, yes. So why don't you enter my recorder there?
Absolutely. Thank you. So this is defendant's 1, and Judge, I'm not moving to admit it as an exhibit, but I think for reference purposes.
I understand.
For the file, it's important. Okay, again, Ms. Scadarossi, let's try this again. I would like you to take that pen, and I would like you to put a check next to the page 1, page 2, whatever line it is, where you wrote that you disabled the front camera. Please put a check there.
It's not here.
Okay, so will you?
I'm sorry, you said it's not in there?
No, it's not on the statement.
Will you please put a check, read that again, please, and please put a check where you wrote that Mr. Scadarossi, where you disabled the kitchen camera.
I don't believe it's in here. They
It's
told me
not-
not to put it in here. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
It's in the body camera footage of me talking to the police, but not in my statement. If you would like to admit that.
Ma'am, a few moments ago, I asked you, in response to my questions, I asked whether that was in your written statement, and you testified, yes, it was.
It was in my statement to the police in the lobby, but not in my
Ma'am,
written
listen
statement.
to my question.
Objection asked and answered. She has answered this
Well,
multiple
I
times.
think that's,
She's clarified what she said in her
Judge,
statement. and what she said.
You asked if I
disagree with
told
hang
the
on, slow
police.
down.
I'm
It's
sorry.
not your turn to talk.
I'm not big into speaking objections.
No, I'm not overrule. You feel free. I understand where you're going with this. Continue.
Thank you. Ma'am, a few moments ago, in response to my question, you said under oath here that in your written statement,
Not in my written statement.
Ma'am,
You
Let
asked
him
if I told
finish
the
the
police.
question, ma'am. Let him finish the question. If the answer is no, that's fine, but let him finish the question.
Okay.
a few moments ago, I asked you a question about whether you had told the police that you had disabled the cameras, the front camera and the kitchen camera. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
And in response to my questions under oath, you said it was in your written statement. Isn't that what you testified to originally? It's a simple yes or no.
I believe I said it was in my statement to the
Right.
police. You asked if I told them. I said I told them.
Let's go back again and let's just make sure we're talking about the same thing. I'm going to let you say whatever you want to say whenever you get a chance to say it. I just would like an answer to my specific question, okay?
Okay.
When I asked you a moment ago about whether you told that to the police, in response to that, those questions, you testified under oath that it was in your written statement. Yes or no?
I believe I said it was in my
Okay,
statement.
so is your answer no? Is your answer
So it's
did not?
unclear. I don't-
Ma'am, is your answer no, I didn't testify to that, or is it yes, I did testify to it?
I believe I was trying to say that I told the police this. So I haven't read my statement since the police station that night.
Ma'am,
I just know that I told them
I'm going to ask
everything.
you one more time, and if your answer is, I don't want to answer the question the way you asked Mr. Rockheimer, that'll be the answer. And we'll talk about the weather, or the lions, or the tigers, or something else irrelevant, okay? I'm asking you, I asked you under oath whether your testimony was, it is in my written statement.
Yes or no? It's just, there's two
I
answers.
just understood you differently, so I don't
You understood.
believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in an opportunity with the man approaching again.
Yes.
Sorry. We're in exhibit A, exhibit 1, I'm sorry. The written statement that you testified was accurate and complete. The police gave you all the time that you wanted to write this out, and you signed it. You did not include in this written statement that you had disabled the front camera, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, am I correct?
Correct.
You did not include here that you had actually stood up next to the pilaster or the column, or that you had snuck up to the house in that way, did you?
No.
You did not include that you went into the kitchen and that you actually attempted to disable the kitchen camera, did you?
No.
You didn't include that you actually attempted without authorization to enter into his laptop, did you? You didn't say without his authorization.
No, I didn't say without his authorization.
You didn't say that you
I
took
did
his
say he was
phone
sleeping.
without his authorization and tried to access his phone, did you?
I said he was sleeping.
You didn't, you say
So
he was
no, those
sleeping?
words I didn't use. I believe so. I
Of
haven't
course you
seen it.
didn't. You knew you didn't have authorization to enter into his phone in that way, right?
Objection, badgering the witness. He's
All right.
Okay. Go through a couple other things here if I could, and then we're going to get back to. That's a pretty harrowing incident, the way you described it, isn't it? Harrowing means, you know what harrowing means?
I know what heroin means.
Okay, yeah, I'm not trying to insult you. I didn't know if you're pausing when I use that word or not. So you described a pretty harrowing, frightening experience. Yeah?
In the moment, yes.
In the moment. And today, you testified that Mr. Scatarassi actually, at one point, according to you, that he looked over at the bedroom windows of your children, his children. Is that right?
Bedroom doors, yes.
Bedroom doors. And you took that to mean that your children were threatened.
I didn't take that to mean anything. I'm just saying what he said.
You described him looking over. What was the point of you describing him looking over at the two bedroom doors?
To describe the incident.
To describe the incident? You never told the police he looked over at the two bedroom doors, did you?
Yes, I did.
You never wrote in your written statement you looked over at the two bedroom doors, did you?
I don't believe so.
It's another fact that you omitted, isn't it?
Not in the body cam cameras.
All right.
Body cam.
In the body cam footage, I know that sounds like a fallback for you, like a safety valve. You know what that means?
Because it has everything that the police told me I didn't have to right now.
It has everything the police told you. Okay. So when he said everyone and looked at the bedroom doors, I mean, you interpreted that in some way, didn't you?
I did.
You interpreted that to mean that he was a threat to your children.
At the time, yes.
At the time. Okay. This incident occurred on April 10th, right?
Yes.
May 15th, you actually filed for divorce, didn't you?
May what?
May 15th.
I believe it was in the 20s. I can't remember the exact date.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember the exact date. I don't think it was the 15th. I think it was the 20s something.
Your voice is trailing
She's
off.
saying she thinks she filed in the 20 something of May,
Of
not
May,
the
okay.
15th, right?
Well,
Yes.
In a divorce case, you have to verify the complaint when you file for divorce, right?
Yes.
objection. Again, objection.
Okay, so listen, you got to.
Irrelevant.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me get you in a good habit right now. When you're objecting, stand up, okay? One, you're standing behind him. Two, I can hardly hear you.
I can move, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
saying objection irrelevance. I mean, he's asking about a signed complaint and a divorce complaint.
I disagree.
It's a bit
You're gonna move on
Goes to
how quick,
impeachment.
you're gonna move on how quickly? Ask a couple more questions.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm going through this and then
All right.
each thing I go through,
Okay,
will only be
feel
pretty
free to
relatively
renew
quick.
your objection, Ms. Awad.
Thank you. You had to verify, I just want to, time-wise, I just want to establish that your complaint for divorce, when you filed for divorce against Mr. Scatarassi, you did that
after this alleged incident. Is that correct?
Yes. But I met my lawyer in March.
And I'm sorry?
I met with my lawyer in March.
In March?
Yes.
Yes. And in your complaint for divorce, you swore, because it's a verified complaint, you swore that you did not know of any issue related to domestic violence or any issue related to neglect or abuse of children that could concern the custody or parenting time of your children. Isn't that true?
I don't remember what's on there, but
May I approach
there
the
wasn't
witness,
any
Your Honor?
charges at the time.
May I approach the
Yes.
witness? A copy of it. This is a copy of the complaint.
Was that her signing it or her lawyer?
Her lawyer, she had to sign it. So the copy I have one that is unsigned because it was easy to print, but I have one that's actually signed in my computer. It's like a picture, so it doesn't print easily. But if there's any question about whether she signed it, I'm happy to pull that one up on my screen.
Okay, you can approach the witness.
Am I approaching you?
Yes.
I think mark this just for
Defense 2.
defense too. Judge, do you want these? I know they're not admitted, but
I'm going to want to keep a copy.
in the file.
Yes.
I can ask a question if you want while we're marking
Sure,
this.
go ahead.
So I'm going to move to a different subject. After this incident, which you described as harrowing, scary, all of that, fair to say that you continued a relationship with Mr. Scadarassi, correct?
A co-parenting relationship.
Only
Yes.
a co-parenting relationship?
Yes.
Didn't you have sex together?
Objection.
Oh, Judge, it's relevant.
Go overruled.
Didn't you have sex together after that?
Is it overruled? There was an intimate moment at my daughter's birthday party. Yes.
I'm sorry?
I didn't hear it either.
Yes, there was an intimate moment at my daughter's birthday party. Well, weekend.
Yeah, you guys went away as a family, right?
It didn't start that way.
You went away May
We
4th.
had her birthday party. Yes.
Ma'am, you went away May 4th, didn't you?
Yes.
You went away for your daughter's birthday.
Yes.
You went to Kalahari, correct?
Yes.
And you and Mr. Scadarassi were intimate, correct?
Yes.
So that's a little bit more than co-parenting when you say at that particular point?
That day, yes, I would say.
Okay, so your testimony that your relationship was limited to quote unquote co-parenting, that's not accurate or true?
One day out of a year, I
It's
guess.
fine, whatever
Yes.
it is, but that testimony was not true.
We went back to co-parenting afterwards.
Okay, I know you want to qualify that. Can I take that as a yes, that that one line wasn't true?
No,
No, I can't.
we still co-parented together,
Okay.
and that was it.
May I approach again?
Yes.
May I approach again? This is a copy of your defendant's exhibit number 2. This is the complaint to the date May 15th.
Yes.
And your lawyer, Robert Dubin.
Yes.
And then there's a line for you to sign. I declare the above statements are true to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief.
Yes.
And that you had to verify that before it was submitted as a complaint in the case, correct?
Yes.
And you did that, right?
Verified that I had to sign it?
No, verified. In other words, you had to sign your name saying that this was verified, that the facts in here were true.
Yes.
And in page 3, under paragraph 14C, plaintiff does not know of and has not participated as a party, witness, or in any other capacity, in any other court decision, order, or proceeding, including divorce, separate maintenance, separation, neglect, abuse, dependency, guardianship, paternity, termination of parental rights, and protection from domestic violence concerning the custody or parenting time of the children in this state or any other state.
Objection, Your Honor. This paragraph in this exhibit is not relevant.
I
It has
disagree.
nothing to
Let me
do-
see, let me read that. You were reading it kind of fast
Oh, I'm
here.
sorry, Your
May
Honor.
we approach, Your Honor?
Paragraph C and D are relevant.
Do you want to approach?
Yes.
What, with Mr. Rockhind? You want to approach where?
You, just go ahead and read it first.
Questioning on paragraph C and D, Your Honor. I'll make my offer of proof too when the court's ready.
It's not relevant to the case that we have.
Wait a minute, what page are you on this? Were you
Page
showing her?
3.
Judge, it's page 3,
Okay,
and it's paragraph 14.
okay.
Then I believe it's paragraphs C and D.
I mean, I'm not sure where you're going with this either.
Well,
What do you?
Sure, I'll make my offer of proof if
Go
the court
ahead.
wants. My offer of proof is that this complaint for divorce that was filed, which was verified that the complainant did not in anywhere in the complaint or in paragraph C or D indicate that there was an allegation of domestic violence or an allegation of Mr. Scottarassi in any way intimating that he was a threat of harm to their children, which is what she testified to here.
Your Honor, if I may respond. This paragraph specifically is regarding any court decision, order, or proceeding as a party witness or in any other capacity. At the time this case had not been initiated, her being a witness in some type of incident report with the police.
I agree with her, Mr. Rockheim. This complaint was not initiated, although it was authorized back in July of 24. It wasn't authorized by the date of the filing of the complaint, and there was no arraignment on this charge until January 29 of 25. So I'm going to ask you to move on.
Yes, Your Honor. I have one more question if I could.
Go ahead.
But I won't, but we'll again, I'll leave this here for record purposes. Mr. Scottarassi, would you agree with me that in your divorce complaint, forget about those particular paragraphs, you made no mention, there was no mention or reference to this incident?
Correct.
All right. Scottarassi, let me ask you, let me move on to a different subject matter. We know that you met with the police and you've written out a written statement and you have spoken with the prosecutor, correct?
Correct.
And during your conversation with me a few moments ago, you talked about things that you used the phrase, well, what was legal and not legal. You remember that? Remember at some point you volunteering an answer saying, well, that's illegal, or that would be
Breaking someone's property.
breaking someone's property.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions along those lines. And just going to ask, as the prosecutor or the detective, not asking about your lawyer. That's different. You don't ever have to answer anything about what your lawyer told you. Understand that? Your
Yes.
divorce lawyer. That's private. Okay.
Yes.
So the prosecutor or the detective, did they ever discuss with you any crimes that you committed or may have committed or could be accused of having committed on April 10th?
No.
All right, let's go through those and we'll talk about what's illegal and not legal. So we know that you entered into a home at which you were not living at that night on April 10th. You testified to that, right?
Wasn't staying, yes.
Wasn't staying, wasn't living. You told the police you weren't living there, right?
I said I had been gone for a week, yes.
Right. And you entered into that house when somebody was there, which was Mr. Scottarassi. Yes?
My husband, yes.
Ma'am, you entered into the house when a person was there, correct?
Correct.
And you entered into the house with the intent to do something, correct?
Correct.
And the intent was to access his computer, right?
Wait a second. I think I need to get her a lawyer.
You might.
I think I'm going to. Ma'am. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to appoint you a lawyer to just talk to you about this, okay? We're not going to rush this. We're going to continue this. I want to give you an opportunity. If anything, I've let it go too long, and that was my mistake. Are you guys good in 2 weeks?
Can I check my calendar?
Please. There's nothing to be afraid about. I'm going to get you a lawyer. I want you to fill out. Well, I'm just going to appoint you a good lawyer from MIDC, okay? And at least you can confer with him or her about this before you come back, all right? There's no reason to be upset right now. How about, is everybody good on the 25th, Lisa? Is that in the afternoon?
The afternoon on the 25th is fine. I have I have a sentencing set for that morning that I know will be involved, but the afternoon I'm fine.
You good on the afternoon, Ms.
I'm checking.
Okay,
That works, Your Honor.
we're gonna adjourn this to March the, what did I say? The
25th, Your Honor.
I meant the 18th. I don't know why I said the 25th. Can we do this the 18th? 2 weeks from today. And I want you to appoint her a lawyer. I want to give her, let's appoint Mr. Haynes to talk to her, okay? So we're going to give you a lawyer. There's no reason to be upset. Everybody's going to show up here March 18th at 2 o'clock, okay? Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank
Anything
you.
else?
I'm going to leave these.
Please,
with the court.
and if you want us to make copies, we can do that for you.
I'll take copies with the stickers on, so we have those.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Ms. Alley, anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Rule against Andrew Scott Scartarazzi, 25B710359. Counsel, your appearance.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nora Ali on behalf of the people.
Ms. Rockheim.
Neil Rockheim, P number 48618 on behalf of Andrew Scartarazzi.
Sir, your name, please.
Andrew Scartarazzi.
And can you come forward, counsel, please, for me?
Sure.
Okay, your appearance, please.
James Parker.
All right, and there were some things I heard last week. I was being a little conservative, or 2 weeks ago when we started. I asked MIDC to appoint a lawyer. You've been appointed. You are representing the victim in this case, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right. And so I'm going to let you sit right in the front.
All right, then.
And if there's any objections or anything you need to cover, you feel free to stop me, okay? And your name, detective?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Crystal Tulas, home police department.
We stopped when Mr. Rockheim was conducting cross. Can you please bring the witness in? I'll swear to an oath again since it's a different day, and we will go ahehead and proceed.
And I apologize, Your Honor. I didn't know if you were.
No, that's all right.
Could I just, the only objections I understand, prosecutor can make objections, obviously. Is the court allowing Mr. Parker to make objections too?
No, the prosecutor is the one that's going to object to the testimony.
Okay.
But if he feels, and I'm going to state right now, if you feel that she's somehow going to incriminate yourself, there was no immunity offered apparently, you can ask to confer with your client with respect to that question. And I'm going to allow that.
Yes, I understand that.
And now I also have, just for the record, I'd like you to put on record, ma'am, you can come right up here. I'm covering too many things at a time here. First of all, I'm going to ask you to state your name again. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, solemnly swear affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you'll give in these proceedings will be the whole truth, so help you God.
I swear.
Okay, so have a seat, and I'm going to let you put on record, Mr. Rockheim. You forgot the, I'm not a techie here, okay? So you can put everything on record. You're doing this on your iPad onto the Zoom screen, and you're going to have the the thumb drive, which is at your office. Honestly, at exams, I give back the exhibits. So unless there's an objection, he's an officer of the court. I'm going to allow him to hold the thumb drive. We will put on record that the thumb drive pertaining to these items, whatever they are, the body cams and whatnot, will be marked as defense 1. And in other words, we'll just all know that the thumb drive that he has would have been marked defense 1. He can retain it. It's his responsibility to retain it until we get, in the event of a bind over, he will have to provide a copy of that to everybody.
I don't think it's defense 1, because I think we presented several exhibits the last time we were here. The court kept copies of those.
Well, I keep copies in between where there's a continuation, and we might retain copies here just for our records, but honestly, I believe the rule says that the moving party in the exam is to maintain that exhibit, the originals of that exhibit, in the event of a bind over.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that's all I'm.
Okay. I think we're on defense. I would say we're on defense 4. Defense 5.
I see what you're saying. Yes, fair enough. Defense 4, because Though they weren't admitted, I asked you to have them marked, some of those last time. All right, so with that, anything else that anybody needs to bring up before we start? Mr. Rockheim?
No.
Mr. Holloway? Ms. Holloway?
Your Honor, just the mutual sequestration.
Yeah, and that's to continue. So any witness that might testify either today or at the time of trial is to leave the courtroom with the exception of the defendant and the officer in charge, which is Detective Toulas. Okay? All right, you can proceed, Mr. Rockheim.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Scardarossi, let me begin with we were here previously, yes?
Yes,
The preliminary examination was continued to today.
yes,
And the purpose of the adjournment or of the continuation was the court assigning you or appointing you a lawyer, correct?
correct.
A lawyer has been appointed for you.
Yes,
Just so I understand, I don't want to know whatever you and your lawyer talked about, okay?
okay,
But I do want to move past that meeting. You have a lawyer present in court.
correct.
He's seated to my left and your right, yes?
Yes,
I think his name is Mr. Parker.
I believe so.
Do you know his name?
I just met him today. I'm sorry. I
You
believe
just met
so.
him today?
Yes,
Prior to meeting your lawyer, did you have, you had conversations with the prosecutor on this case, is that true?
that's correct.
And today, when you came to court, you met, how long, I guess, let me just start there. How long did you meet with the prosecutor today before you met with your own lawyer?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
Judge, it goes to, I'd like a little bit of room, it goes to,
Very, very, very little.
yes.
How long did you meet with the prosecutor before you talked to your lawyer?
I talked to my lawyer first, I believe.
Okay.
Right, so you talked to your lawyer before you talked to the prosecutor.
Correct.
After speaking with your lawyer, have you spoken with the prosecutor?
Yes,
I don't want to talk about again what you said to your lawyer and you, between your lawyer and you, but I do want to talk about what you and the prosecutor talked about. Was your lawyer present?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance and outside of the
Judge,
scope of this examination.
It's not outside of the scope. It's directly within the scope. I'm in the middle of cross-examination.
Overruled.
So I just want to know if your lawyer was present, just for foundational purposes, was your lawyer present during that meeting with the prosecutor?
at one point, yes.
At one point. At some point, did your lawyer leave?
Yes,
Did you continue to still talk to the prosecutor?
yes,
Was anybody else in the room with you and the prosecutor after your lawyer left?
at once, yes. An advocate,
A quote unquote victim advocate?
yes.
Is that person in court now?
Objection, Your Honor. Your Honor, may we approach?
Ooh, come
I
on.
have something to say.
Go off the record. Well, you can ask that on redirect then. Okay. I mean, you can't object that a witness is giving an answer that you might be confused about. If you want to ask on redirect, are you sure it was me? Did you talk to me or did you talk to the victim? Okay.
Thank you.
Back on record, please.
Thank you. Ms. Scardarossi, I had, by anybody other than your lawyer, well, let me rephrase the question. You understand that when you testify, you could be incriminating yourself as to potential crimes.
I understand.
And you understand that the questions that I have asked and that I am asking of you relate to your conduct on the date in question.
On the date of April 10th?
Yes.
Question? Yes.
You understand that I am inquiring, the last time, and I'm going to ask you now, has anybody given you what we call immunity? Do you know what immunity is?
I know what immunity is.
Immunity is where someone says that you're free to testify without fear of being charged.
No, but I'm here knowing that I need to testify the truth, and
Okay.
that's why I'm here.
Let me ask the question again. Has anybody?
Objection asked and answered.
No, it wasn't an answer to my question. So it was her own answer. It's not a direct answer.
I said no
Wait a
first.
minute. Wait.
She did say no.
Okay.
Your Honor.
So no one has offered you immunity.
No.
You understand that the entity that's prosecuting this case is the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
Yes.
And you understand that I'm going to go through specifically. You actually, I think we covered this last time. But you did not have consent to enter into or to take Andrew's phone out of his house, correct?
The phone being marital property, I've never needed consent before.
Oh, that's your position? That the phone was marital property? I just want to, let me just make sure I understand. Your position is that the phone on the incident date was marital property, and so you had the right to take it? Is that your position?
I believe
Objection
it.
calls for a legal conclusion.
No, she's offered that as her explanation. It's absurd, but she's offered that as an
All right, it
explanation.
might be, but you've already covered this.
Okay.
Okay.
So you entered into the house with intent to take, well, let me back up. You understood that you did not have the password to Andrew's phone, am I correct?
I learned that night.
Okay. You understood when you talked to the police asked you why you snuck into the house and took his phone, correct?
Correct.
And you told them that he would never give you the passcode, correct?
He wouldn't give me the passcode to the spyware from the beginning. So
I'm gonna move to strike. I'm gonna ask you the question again. You understood that you did not have that Andrew would not, you told the police Andrew would not give you and did not give you the passcode to his phone, correct?
correct.
Okay, let me ask this a little bit differently. Andrew didn't give you the passcode for his computer. Am I correct?
No, that was changed.
Okay. Am I correct that you didn't have the passcode to Andrew's computer? Just answer my question. What's your name? Can I ask you that? What's your name, then?
Chantel.
Okay. Are you in the 33rd District Court?
Yes.
Is that your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. So you can answer questions yes or no. Would you do me the honor, please, of answering the questions I ask you with a yes or no answer?
The new password? No,
Okay.
I didn't have it.
All right. Despite not having the password, you attempted to access his computer. Am I correct?
Haven't we covered this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, trying to.
We really did cover.
Okay, Your Honor. So a person, you understand that it's a violation of Michigan law. But let me ask you this. I'll rephrase it differently. You intentionally and without authorization and or by exceeding valid authorization accessed or caused access to be made to a computer program or computer. Am I correct?
Objection, compound question, Your Honor.
This is standard.
It's also improper opinion.
A person, you attempted to access or cause access to be made to a computer. Am I right?
I've had access to that computer up until that date.
Motion to strike. Ma'am,
I'm trying to
asking,
understand, that's all.
ma'am,
Wait a second, slow down.
I'm moving to strike the answer. It's non-responsive.
Your question was,
Did you access or cause access to be made to a computer program or computer on the incident date? And that's a yes or no answer.
okay, but didn't we already cover all this?
No, this is when the court,
I think you covered all this. Okay,
it's a violation of Michigan statute.
well, that might be, but you've already asked this. It's already been answered. As I recall it, in your memory, I'm sure you've handled less cases than I have in 2 weeks, but I'm sure that my memory serves me, we covered all this
Okay,
on Tuesday, what would be the 4th.
okay. Pam, you recognize that apart from there's something apart from state law, there's something called federal law. You're aware of that?
Yes,
You understand that you don't have immunity or protection here from a potential violation of federal law.
I understand the risks of telling the
Objection,
truth.
Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to move on, Mr. Rockheim.
Move on from the different.
Yeah, I mean, I appointed her a lawyer. She's covered this with her lawyer. Mr. Parker's been around a long time. That's why I got her the lawyer to explain all this. We don't need you to ask her whether or not that she understands that this is a violation of state law or federal law, or succinctly ask her whether or not she violated a statute. So I'm gonna ask you to move on.
Well, just for my way of offer of proof, the reason why I'm going through it is that she's testifying blanketly to, and where we left off last time was me beginning to inquire specifically about her different criminal law violations.
You're asking specific questions about specific statutes. I told you before, I probably should have gotten her a lawyer earlier than I did. I just don't want you covering the same questions, particularly since she's had an opportunity to consult with a lawyer. And he presumably, any good lawyer, would advise her as to the very things you're inquiring about. So if there's something different or new that you didn't ask last time, short of these kinds of questions, feel free to go into that, okay?
So,
But you covered all of that, right?
I understand.
You asked her if she went in, whether she had permission to be in the
whether she
house,
intends
permission
and
to be in the business, whether,
right.
right? Whether or not she had permission to take the phone, we covered all that.
Oh, okay.
So I know what you're trying to do, I get it, but come on, let's move on.
Okay, Judge. I just haven't, this is a unique situation where someone is exposing themselves to.
I know, but I know what else you're trying to do. So,
Okay.
come on, let's just move on and stay with the case here.
Okay. All right. You're right. So at the court's direction, I'll move into a different area.
Thank you.
Now, at the time of the incident, which was April 10th, right?
Right.
You were I have to sort of, you were interested on April 10th in getting information about Andy's finances. Am I correct?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
Judge,
I don't recall that again.
I've already established, so I'm trying not to cover the same ground. I had previously established that she had
You're
a lawyer.
getting out there a little bit. I'm going to overrule it. Answer the question. Were you trying to uncover information regarding his finances?
I don't believe so, but
Okay.
that was a long time ago.
Okay. I'm trying to, I feel, and Judge, I'm respectfully, I feel a little hamstrung because.
Okay, so let me ask
I
you.
know as a lawyer, I've got material to cover with her.
I know.
But I feel like I'm sort of being kind of hustled along because she has a lawyer and because she's.
I'm not hustling anybody.
I know.
At this point, I think it's prejudicial. The issue here is whether or not there was a felony firearm and whether or not there was a felonious assault. That's the only two things that I'm addressing here right now. You got a third count that's not a felony. Whether or not she was going into a computer, which we know she was, for financial benefit or financial information that she could acquire on her own or otherwise, honestly, it's not relevant. To the extent it is relevant, it's the probative value is outweighed by the prejudicial effect. That's what I'm trying to tell you nicely.
Okay, Your Honor.
And then it's okay if you disagree.
I thought it goes to credibility and motive and bias, which I think that it does. But again, the court makes the rulings and we'll live by them.
Thank you.
So let me get to, if I could, I'm going to show you, you had testified previously about I'm going to try to put up here Give me a second. Share screen.
So Ms. Holloway,
Yes.
Ma'am, can you see?
hang on.
Yep.
Just for future reference, when you're objecting, you probably want to tell the judge, whether it's me or another judge, what the grounds are and why, okay? I'm not saying you're not doing that, but a little more specific, that's all, okay?
Understood, Your Honor.
You make a nice presence here. Good to have you. Go ahead.
Ma'am, this is the Zoom, or this is the Ring camera. I put it up here on display. This is the exterior Ring camera of your
Objection,
home
Your
on April
Honor.
10th. Am I correct?
Objection, he has not laid a foundation for this Ring camera.
Okay,
All right. come
I'll lay a foundation.
on. This is just a preliminary exam.
I understand.
Is that your former house?
Yes,
That's where you were living?
yes.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. How many of take a look at this video. So let me start with, this is a Ring camera that is in a doorbell, correct? A Ring doorbell camera.
Correct.
Now, you're visible in this video, am I correct?
Correct.
You're on the left, yes?
My car on the left?
Do you see yourself in the video?
I can't see myself right now, but I see myself.
Wait a minute, I can't hear a word you're saying, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see myself now. Yes.
Now you see yourself, you're approaching on, just want to be clear, so you're approaching on the right side of the house, am I right? The right side of the front doorbell?
Yes.
The left as you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now you're standing behind a wall right there, am I correct?
I'm walking up the side of the porch.
But right now you're standing, just take a look at where you are. There are different ways to walk up to your house, am I right? Let's play it again.
Right, I was avoiding the camera.
Yes, you have a walkway that walks from your driveway up to the front of your front stoop or your front porch, correct?
Correct.
You didn't walk up the walkway, am I right?
No, I didn't walk up the
You didn't?
walkway of my porch.
Correct. You didn't walk up the walkway. You didn't go onto the front porch and approach the door from the walkway, am I right?
Correct.
What you did is you came up from the side to my left and to your right, yes?
Correct.
I
And
didn't hear you, ma'am.
From the left of the screen, yes.
yes,
The
left
right
of the
of the
screen
house.
to the right,
Yes.
yes. Is it fair to say that you actually walked on some, to get to that point, you walked on some grass or through some landscaping?
I would say I walked on the side of the landscape to
Walked
turn
on
the
side
camera
of the
off.
landscape.
Yes.
That's not the way that one would normally enter into that house, correct?
Correct.
Right. And you entered in this way, and as you can see yourself here on the left side or the right side of the screen, you've obscured yourself by the stone or on the side of the house, right?
Can you play the full video?
Yeah, but let's talk, we will in a second. Let's talk about right now where you're at.
What time is
I just
that on?
want to know if
Young
I'm
lady.
walking. Yes. I'm sorry.
Ooh, I can't see that far. What time is that on right now?
It looks like it says 4:49, but that's
And do you see
right.
yourself in that
Yes.
picture now? Okay. Right behind what appears to be the tree on the left. Is that true?
It's
It looks like a tree. Is that a tree or is that?
that's like the porch, like
Like the brick.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, you can see the walkway to the front and the
Right.
porch. So after walking through the landscaping, on the side of the landscaping and in that unconventional way up to the porch, you then sort of stood next to this, behind or next to the brick of the house. Is that right?
Yes, as I explained, to
Yes.
turn the camera off.
So, and what you did is you then attempted to sort of reach and remove or dislodge the Ring camera, right?
Yes.
This is you attempting to do that. That's you doing that right now, correct, in the video?
Yes.
Now, again, you testified previously, I asked you about this, and you testified that you didn't actually attempt to sort of hide yourself or your body by the side of the house. You didn't try to
I testified that I didn't crouch in the kitchen to hide my body from the camera in the kitchen.
Okay, you did hide your body. You did try to hide your body to, just so I'm clear, you're conceding that you did try to hide your body here in this, to dislodge the Ring camera. Am I correct?
I explained that I walked up to the porch on the side against the house to take the camera off.
Will you answer
I
my question,
testified
ma'am?
before.
You did try to obscure your body, try to sort of hide yourself as best
Asked
you.
and answered, Your Honor.
Wasn't
Said
answered.
it multiple times.
It wasn't answered, Your Honor. I'm asking if, she's got a lot of lawyers.
Your body by walking on the right side of the house, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
So that the Ring camera couldn't pick you.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I should ask, between when you were in court previously and today, other than your meeting with your lawyer, have you done any preparation for testifying today?
No.
Did you watch any of the body cameras or any of the videos again?
No.
Did you read any police reports or your written statement?
No.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, you've done nothing other than meet with your lawyer today in preparation for testifying?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's move on, if we could, to take a look at the screen, if you would. Do you recognize what's in the screen here?
Yes.
That's a view of the kitchen from a security camera on the kitchen counter. Am I correct?
Yes, that's the camera from the kitchen in my old house.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's our kitchen camera.
Now, on that date, so I want to talk about Andy's kitchen and camera and where he was sleeping. Okay. So you understand that's what I'm going to be asking you about?
Yes.
Okay. So we see in the background here, if you would, there's a TV that's on. Am I correct?
Yes, next to the poster that says Andy and Chantel.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask the question again. I know you want to editorialize. I get it. You've got a lot invested in this case for some reason. Let me just ask the question again. Do you see the TV in the background?
I do.
Okay. So now, all right, so I'm going to play this, okay? And tell me when you come into the screen. Judge, I can move it forward a bit if that would be helpful to save some time.
Do you see yourself in there yet, ma'am?
No.
I have to hope that it's still playing. Okay. You see yourself now, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, well, so let's identify, so sometime right before 4:22 on the video is when you saw yourself. Is that fair? I don't want to put words in your mouth. It's on the left side of the screen there.
yes. Yes, that's me.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you, so you had testified previously, I think you had a distinct recollection, you said that you did not crouch down in the kitchen, is that correct?
Your Honor, before he answers that question.
I can't hear you.
There is an issue with the timestamp.
Well, it says 4:22 in the bottom left.
This is just the time on the
video.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that it's 4:22 in the morning or
Yeah.
4:22 in the afternoon. Let me just be clear for the record. I'm talking about the length of time of the video. It looks like it goes to 4:37. And right now I was just identifying for the record the fact that she had appeared on camera right before the 4:22 mark on the video. I'm not saying it was 4:22.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
You had asked me last time if I.
Let me pause for a second, just so we can make sure the foundation is clear.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you yes or no questions. If you don't answer, if you can't answer it, no, just say it. I can't answer it, Mr. Ackhine. That's fine. Okay. So the video that we're looking at here of you in Mr. Scardassi's house on April 10th, I just want to establish this is after you had already dislodged the battery from the Ring camera outside. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. This is after you'd entered into the house when he was sleeping. Yes.
Correct.
And this is another camera that's inside of the house. Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Now, would you agree with me that in this video here, that you're with your right hand, look at your right hand, please, in the video, you're beckoning the dog over, am I correct?
I don't see the dog, so I'm not
Okay,
sure.
well, you see the fireplace?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that.
There you go. Now, what are you doing here, ma'am? Let's pause.
Okay.
What'd you do first of all with your hand towards the dog?
I did call the dog.
What are you doing here in the video? Are you crouching down, ma'am?
I'm petting the dog.
Are you crouching down?
I'm crouching, not hiding.
Okay. And Mr. Scardassi is home, am I correct?
Correct.
Now, the dog is in the kitchen right by you at this point, correct?
Correct.
Now, this is you reaching over and unplugging the camera, the security camera from the kitchen, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let me, I do want to backtrack because this is something new. You said that Mr. Scardasi's own cell phone, part of your answer was earlier that it was, quote, marital property, unquote. Is that right?
That's what I believed at the time.
Okay. Tell me about that. When did you tell the police that Mr. Scardasi's, when you went to the police department, you didn't explain to the police that you believed that Mr. Scardasi's phone was marital property, am I right?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Well, this is her testimony today. This is a brand new fact so I think she's been coached, but that's a whole different.
Hang on. Did you tell the police that?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
So, did you tell the police that you believe that Mr. Scardasi's laptop computer was marital property as well?
I told
Ma'am,
the
did you tell the police
police what I
believe-
did to be attacked. No, I didn't go into detail about
I'm going to move to
whose
strike
property
that.
it was.
I'm asking you a specific question about Mr. Scardasi's laptop. Just asking you about his laptop. Did you tell the police that you believe that it was marital property?
No, we didn't go into detail.
Have you testified? You testified when we were previously before Judge McNally as well in this case, yes?
Yes.
You didn't testify when you testified last time. You didn't say that you believed his phone was marital property. Am I correct?
I said I believed his phone was his as well as mine is mine.
That's your recollection of your testimony from last time?
Not exact words.
Not
but
exact words.
yes.
And how about his computer? Did you testify last time you believed that his computer was his and yours?
No.
No. But today you're testifying to that.
After speaking with a lawyer and
Got it.
Wait a minute. I don't want you to talk anything about what you said to the lawyer or the lawyer said to you. Okay?
I just meant I have
Did you hear what I
different
said?
clarity. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. The lawyer that you spoke to, I don't know what he said, but the lawyer you spoke to was Mr. Parker?
No.
The lawyer you spoke to was the prosecutor?
No, a friend of mine.
Oh, a friend of yours was not someone that you've hired to be your lawyer.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not relevant.
It is relevant, Judge.
Come on. Why?
Judge, because
It also,
could I?
Let her,
if her friend is an attorney, it could be privileged, it could be a privileged conversation.
Well, Judge, the reason why it's not privileged is that the answer, first of all, the reason why it's relevant is it goes to credibility. That wasn't an answer that she offered to the police. It wasn't an answer that she offered last time. The court appointed her a lawyer for a reason.
but you've covered all that.
But about the change of answer?
Well, that's a change of answer with regard to that. Now we were, I thought, on to something else, the computer. You started questioning about the computer.
I did.
And she said that, I believe, she didn't say that that was marital property either now or at the time of the first hearing.
Oh, ma'am, is it your testimony?
Did you say that or not?
You're saying that his computer was not marital property?
I was saying at the time I believed it was marital property.
The computer too?
I believed
You believe the phone and the computer were marital property?
Yes.
But again, so
But
Judge,
again,
So
that's
now
just
you're
my
acting
belief.
like a prosecutor though, Mr. Rockhind. You
But
really are, and I understand where you're trying to go with this, but this.
don't I have somebody, Your Honor, who has committed crimes against
Well,
my client?
you don't have any evidence of that right now, and this is prejudicial as far as I'm concerned. You've asked these questions. The probative value is outweighed by the prejudicial effect. We've covered this. Whether she thinks it was or wasn't marital property, frankly, isn't relevant. She's not a lawyer. She's not a judge. There's no evidence she's gone to law school or even taken a business law class. So whether or not she's of the belief that this is or isn't marital property really is not relevant, is it? Tell me why you think I'm wrong. This is a felonious assault charge. We know what she did. I mean, I'll let you tell me, Judge, I think you're wrong, and here's why. I'll be glad to listen to you.
I believe that the court is wrong, respectfully, for this reason.
Okay.
That Ms. Scatarassi her credibility is an issue. People versus Anderson says at a preliminary examination, the court can and should make credibility findings. I think Ms. Scatarassi's credibility is questionable at best. I'll make that argument at the appropriate time, but the way that I make the argument is through facts. The facts are that she didn't tell the police that she believed either thing were marital property. She didn't testify previously that either the phone or the computer were marital property. She testified differently the last time we were here about what she thought was the extent of her permission to enter into or gain access to both the phone and the computer, and or take his phone out of the house. She was appointed a lawyer, so she knew or knows that there was potential criminal liability. She's met with lawyers between then and now. She comes to court and on her own volunteers today for the first time that she believed that his phone was marital property. I then asked about the computer. I think the court thought that she hadn't said that the computer was marital property. She says that it is marital property. She's now offering a justification today when she faces potential criminal liability that the reason why
The only reason she faces potential criminal liability is you got a judge here that was very fair and conservative and trying to make sure she wouldn't incriminate herself. Prosecutor sat in chambers and said, we don't need to offer immunity. We don't think there's a reason to offer immunity. Wait a minute.
Gotcha.
And her defense lawyer wasn't exactly jumping up and down. So no, I'm going to ask you to move on.
Yes, sir.
You've got a record. You can appeal me. I've been wrong before, and I'm sure I'll be wrong again. Okay. Thank you.
If I were the prosecutor, I can as a prosecutor because I did do that job very shortly. I can't. their decision whether they think that she needs it or not.
But now you're preaching to her.
Well, I'm talking
And that's not my decision. It's not your decision. You know, that might or might not be. I'm just conservative with that. Whenever you're going anywhere near that.
And I respect that. And the reason why I'm concerned, Judge, is that if she pleads the fifth down in circuit court,
you worry about that.
This will be my only transcript.
You let me worry about this now. If she pleads the fifth in circuit court, I don't know how they're going to win the case, but let's go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
I mean, I think you've established all this.
Yes, sir.
I actually went back and looked at some of my notes, and you're really not telling me much so far that I didn't see on my notes.
Yes, Your Honor. All right, Ms. Scatarassi, this video that I just showed you, that is an accurate video, or that's an accurate, I guess, copy or recording of the Ring camera in the kitchen on that date. Am I correct?
It looks like it.
Okay.
That's okay.
So I'm going to try to fast forward here to, do you remember, ma'am, two officers you spoke to in the lobby were the police department, were officers Lieb and Cromier. Is that right?
Yes.
Isn't it true that Officer Lieb specifically asked you whether Mr. Scaradassi ever pointed the gun, in other words, the barrel of the gun, at any part of your body? Yes or no?
Yes, I believe he did in the police station. I'm not sure in the phone call.
Ma'am, so I couldn't hear the end of that answer. You said he did ask you?
I'm not sure which officer, but I was asked that.
Okay. And you said, isn't it true that you said to the officers, it never was pointing?
I don't believe so. I told him it was under my neck like this.
On your left side, you're
On my
pointing to
left
a your
side.
neck?
Yes.
All right, let me.
And he
This
grabbed
is
me by my
you,
hair,
correct?
and he just held it up like he wasn't pointing.
That's you?
Yes.
This is you in the lobby of the police department?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
On the night in question, right?
Yes.
There were two officers we've established that were speaking with you, correct?
Correct.
All right, let me make sure I have the correct point.
And he just held it up to enough where it was like over my chest, and he says, "I'm going to kill you. And you know who else I'm going to kill?" And I said, "Who?" And he says, "Everybody." Like, it was the dumbest freaking sentence. I'm sorry.
So you asked it, when he grabbed the gun, he approached you.
Stop that 1 second. I just want to
And then he
say.
said, "You're going to die." And I was kind of an asshole.
Stop that 1 second. 5:56 is where it started, and we're at 6:14 now. Now you can start playing it again. I just want the record to reflect that.
I better hope so. You know, because I don't do well in situations like this.
I'm just going to repeat what my understanding is.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So he grabs a gun off the kitchen counter, approaches you in the living room.
Front row.
The foyer area.
Yeah.
He grabs you by your hair and pulls the gun up. Or
So
is
it's
it
more like I'm standing here and he like grabbed my hair and it just kind of like was just in his hand while he was talking to me. I don't think he actually intended to use it on me today. But it was
right, but I'm trying to, did the gun, I guess, flag you, so to speak? Like the barrel?
It just went out like this. Like, so I guess it went, yeah.
In the air, but it,
so I mean, I guess, can I come?
Yeah, that's fine.
He was like this and he was like this, like.
Okay, so he put the gun to your
Holding
head,
it, like next to my head, yeah.
directly next to your head?
Yeah, like it was.
Okay. And then you said, are you going to shoot me?
I know, he says, he said, I said, are you gonna shoot me when he was walking through the gate? Like when he,
So I'm going to pause it here for a second, ma'am. Did you hear yourself ever say that he pointed the gun at you?
No, I said he put it.
Put it
here
next to your head,
after
you
grabbing
said.
my head. Yeah.
You heard?
Wait a minute, ma'am.
Yes,
Got it.
I'm sorry. No, I said he grabbed me.
Wait, I want you to just repeat exactly what you said loud enough where I can hear it.
Oh, I said it. He put it here, like under my head. He grabbed me by my hair and held the gun.
But it was still in the holster?
Under my
Wait,
neck.
hold on. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
So I want you to describe, hang on.
Yeah.
I want you to describe for me. You said he grabbed you by the hair. With which hand did he grab you by the hair?
So he would have grabbed me with his left hand because he had me here.
Wait a minute. Just tell me where he grabbed you with your, what hand he grabbed your hair with.
So while I'm staring at him, his arm is back here.
So
and
his
other arm is
left
under here.
hand
Yes.
is grabbing the back of your head.
Yes, and his right hand is holding it here.
He's holding the gun at your neck or not near your neck?
So it's leaning up against my chest, pointed at my neck. So it was still in a holster, but it was pointed at my neck.
I'm sorry, you said it was pointed at you?
Yes,
At her neck.
here, pointed at my neck.
Ma'am, you didn't demonstrate that for the police in this video, am I correct?
I did. I believe I did.
And the police actually asked you whether or not it ever was pointed at you, am I right?
I explained the way that I explained to you. I don't remember explaining it other ways. I
Right.
said it
Let me
was here.
play this.
Did he still
Play the video.
point it
Sorry.
at you, or did he just?
Excuse me.
he picked it up and he grabbed me by my hair and threw me up against the closet. And he had it up, but it never left the hold.
Okay, how did he have it up?
So he didn't, like he was holding it like this, but he had my hair like this.
So was he just holding it like this, or was he holding it?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't pointing at you?
It was pointed.
Okay.
So he grabbed it out of the kitchen. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it was-
So he grabbed it out of the kitchen drawer?
No, so
Ma'am, did you just hear that when the officer asked you in that video if the gun was ever pointed at you?
He asked if it was
And
holding
ma'am,
like this.
did you hear the
Just
officer
answer
ask
his
you?
question.
Ma'am, did
I'm
the
sorry, I don't want to be
officer,
wrong.
Repeat your
did you
question.
hear the officer in that video ask if the gun was ever pointed at you?
I didn't hear it just now.
And did you hear yourself
I was
say that the
looking at-
gun was never pointed that it was never pointing?
All I heard was me say I held it. It was under my head.
Ma'am, I'm asking you this, so you did not hear,
Can you play it again? I'm not
Yes.
saying it didn't happen, but I'm just saying I did not hear it.
Just holding it like this, or was he holding
he
it?
was, no, he wasn't pointing.
He wasn't pointing at you?
It was pointed.
Okay.
So he grabbed it out of the kitchen. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it was.
So he grabbed it out
I
of
was there. The officer asked, was it pointed? And you said, no, he wasn't pointing. The officer said he wasn't pointed it at you. And your answer was, it never was pointing. Isn't that what you told the officer? Yes or no?
Well, he's holding
Objection,
his
you-
hand.
Ma'am,
Objection, Your Honor.
Wait,
I believe he's mischaracterizing the video.
let me do this. I want you to play the video for a period of a minute or two here. Let's back it right
Before
there.
it's played, just for the record, I do want to explain what I'm saying exactly. You could see the officer in the video putting
Well,
his hand out, and I'd
don't-
like to play it to clarify what
Hang on.
exactly he was doing.
I'm gonna direct that you play it from 4:11 until at least 6 minutes and no questions asked
In
during
between
that
the
time.
kitchen and then the front room, so I'm in the front room. I'm sorry, I never cry. I'm in the front room, and he's in the kitchen, he goes to the gate, so I'm asking him, and he comes in, and he's like, yeah, I am. And I was like, okay, like I just didn't believe it, you know, I'm like, okay. And we're not yellers, like neither of us, so it wasn't like he was aggressive or anything, but he was very calm.
So when you said he had the gun in his hand, but it was still in the holster?
Yeah, in a holster.
Okay. Did he still point it at you, or did he
So
just?
he picked it up and he grabbed me by my hair and threw me up against the closet. And he had it up, but it never left the hold.
Okay. How did he have it up?
So he didn't, like he was holding it like this, but he had my hair like this.
So was he just holding it like this, or was he holding it?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't pointing at you?
It was pointed.
Okay.
So he grabbed it out of the kitchen. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it was.
He grabbed it out of the kitchen drawer.
No, so it was on the table in the kitchen.
Okay.
And he just picked it up and walked like out with it in his hand, and it never changed positions in his hand. But he was so calm, and he says, "I'm going to kill you." And I was like, okay.
So when did you say, "Are you going to shoot me"?
I said, "Are you going to shoot me?" And he said, "Yeah."
He just said, "Yeah," or did he say, "Yeah, I'm going to shoot you," or what was his exact words?
He just said, "Yeah."
Okay.
And then I was standing in front of the closet the whole time, like this. And, he grabbed me by my hair, and he just held it up, like he wasn't pointing it, but he just held it up to enough where it was like over my chest, and he says, "I'm going to kill you. And you know who else I'm going to kill?" And I said, "Who?" And he says, "Every."
Okay, I'm going to put the video up again. It's about 8 minutes, so we're starting at 1:07 or so up until 9:08, ma'am. Can I show you this? And you can tell me whether it's true or false that you told the police about your disabling of the home security cameras.
No, you're talking about dispatch up there.
Sorry, I'm kind of a mess.
It's okay.
So my husband and I both were separation, and I asked him for my laptop back recently because I was looking for a job. We own a business together, so I've been working with him for a while. And when I got it back, it had spyware all over it. So I was trying to figure out how to get it off for the last couple of days. So today, he denied it, that he didn't put it on there, saying that it must have been one of the girls from the office. But we're connected to each other's OneDrive, so I seen that he was searching it all up, where to find it. So I was like, I'm just not even going to confront him about it. I'm just going to go to the office and see if I can get it off the office computers, just the password. I couldn't find it. So I ended up going to the house, which I know with separations like this, usually I'm like unusual, but we haven't been fighting. So I've been going in and out of there for the last 2 weeks with the kids.
Do you still reside there? Reside somewhere else?
No, I've been staying with my mom, but I go there every morning with the kids and I get ready in the mornings and we eat breakfast together and stuff like that.
You don't live there anymore currently?
I mean, it's just been a week and a half, so it's like my stuff's all there. It's like,
right.
I mean, everything I own is still there. I just kind of.
So you still reside there?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. He was sleeping and I just grabbed his phone and I was like, maybe I can just send the code to his phone, and I just parked on the street at the corner. And when I realized everything was locked and everything like that, so I just went, I was like, I'm just gonna go put it back. But all the lights were on. He was violent 10 years ago, one time, and never again. He should have got off at me 10 years ago. He was drinking, I was 22. And
10 years ago?
Yeah, so this was a long time ago. But I haven't seen that side of him since then. I came in and he started saying that I stole his money. And
What's the address of this house?
and I was like, I don't have your money, but I have your phone. So I just held up his phone and he was giving me his money. It was in my coat pocket, and I was like, I came in I was scared when I was coming in, so I was sneaking, and I just pulled it out and then left. But I was I'm just trying to find the code to get the spyware off my laptop. So he goes to the other side of the kitchen table and he grabs his gun, and it never came out of the holster. So he didn't have it out, but I was like, are you going to shoot me? And we have a gate in between the kitchen and then the front room, so I'm in the front room. I'm sorry, I never cry. I'm in the front room, and he's in the kitchen, and he goes to the gate, so I'm asking him, and he comes in, and he was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, okay, I just didn't believe it, I'm like, okay. And we're not yellers, neither of us, so it wasn't like he was aggressive or anything, but he was very calm.
So when you said he had the gun in his hand, but it was still in the holster?
Yeah, in a holster.
Okay. Did he still point it at you, or did he just...
He picked it up and he grabbed me by my hair and threw me up against the closet. And he had it up, but it never left the hold.
Okay, how did he have it up?
So he didn't, like, he was holding it like this, but he had my hair like this.
So was he just holding it like this, or was he holding it?
No, he wasn't pointing.
He wasn't pointing at you?
He was pointing.
Okay.
So he grabbed it out of the kitchen. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it was.
So he grabbed it out of the kitchen drawer?
No, so it was on the table in the kitchen.
Okay. The kitchen table.
And he just picked it up and walked, like, out with it in his hand, and it never changed positions in his hand, but he was so calm, and he says, I'm going to kill you. I was like, you know, okay.
So when did you say, are you going to shoot me?
I said, are you going to shoot me? And he said, yeah.
He just said, yeah? Or did he say, yeah, I'm going to shoot you? Or what was his exact words?
He just said, yeah.
Okay.
And then I was standing in front of the closet the whole time, like this. And, I'm sorry. And, he grabbed me by my hair, and he just held it up, like he wasn't pointing it, but he just held it up to enough where it was like over my chest, and he says, I'm going to kill you. And you know who else I'm going to kill? And I said, who? And he says, everybody. Like, it was the dumbest freaking sentence. Sorry.
So you asked it, when he grabbed the gun, he approached you and grabbed it.
And then he said, you're going to die. And I was kind of an asshole and said, you better hope so. You know, because I don't do well in situations like that.
I'm just going to repeat my understanding.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So he grabs a gun off the kitchen counter, approaches you in the living room.
Front row.
The foyer area.
Yeah.
He grabs you by your hair and pulls the gun up. Or
So it's more like I'm standing here and he like grabbed my hair and it just kind of like was just in his hand while he was talking to me. I don't think he actually intended to use it on me today. But
right,
it was
but I'm trying to, did the gun, I guess, flag you, so to speak? Like the barrel?
It just went up like this. Like, so I guess it went up,
in the air, but it...
So I mean, I guess, can I come?
Yeah, that's fine.
He was like this and he was like this. Like,
okay, so he put the gun to your
holding
head?
it, like next to my head, yeah.
Directly next to your head?
Yeah, like it was...
Okay. And then you said, are you going to shoot me?
No, he says, I said, are you going to shoot me when he was walking through the gate, like when he opened it up? And he said, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then he said, give me your money give me my money. And I said, I don't have your money. And that's when he grabbed my hair and he just like put up and he says, you're going to die. Like, and he says, do you know who else I'm going to kill? I don't remember if it was you're going to die or, I don't know, I'm getting fuzzy, I'm sorry, hold on. He goes, you're going to die, and do you know who else is going to die? And I said, who? And he says, everybody. And I go, like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I mean, he, like, de-escalated after that and put it down and then put it in his, like, hip. Like, he was wearing sweatpants, so he just kind of, like... And then he walked through, and I said, I'll see you tomorrow. Because I didn't want him to follow me out, yeah.
That's when you left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In the middle, like, before the gun even came out, he said, the police are on the way. I called them, and I said, okay. Like, and he's like, they're going to find the money. And I said, I don't have it, you know.
When he, so you grabbed your hair while he had the gun, did he hit you at all? You just pulled your hair?
He only had my hair.
Okay. There's no hitting, anything like that? Okay. All right.
I called when I was on my way because he's followed me before, so I didn't know if it was...
What time did this happen at?
It just happened.
Because it's 1:49 right now.
I can find out.
Was the gun in his right hand? If he was holding
it? Yeah, it was in his right hand. Because he was facing me like this.
12.
1:26 was when I walked out. I tried to call my mom at 1:26.
Okay. Different.
Yeah, you can come back.
All right, ma'am, just pause this here. You would concede to me, that in the video, you did not, in that video that I just played for you, your interaction with the two police officers at the police department, you did not tell them that you had disabled the exterior camera, am I correct?
Not in that video, no.
And you didn't tell them that you had disabled the interior video on the kitchen counter, am I correct?
I did tell them in the station, but you
Ma'am,
don't
I'm just
have
talking
that
about the video
video.
I just played for you.
Not in that video, no.
We know the police asked you to write a written statement, right?
Yes.
We talked
Right.
about that before. Yes?
Yes.
And then is it your testimony that when at some later point while you were at the police department, you told the police about disabling the exterior video camera?
Told them about disabling the cameras, yes.
Is that with an S, cameras?
Cameras, I believe
Okay.
both of them. I mentioned disabling cameras.
Ted, I have one more thing to cover with her, if you don't mind. Right. I'm just going to ask you some direct, isn't it true questions if I can. When the officer came out to hand you or to ask you to write excuse me, let me rephrase that. When the officer came out to give you his card, isn't it true that even at that point you had not told either officer that you had disabled the exterior Ring video camera?
I don't remember when I told them at the police station.
Isn't it true that when the officer came out to give you his card, that you did not at that point disclose that you had disabled the interior kitchen camera?
Objection, Your Honor. It's irrelevant.
I disagree.
Answer the question.
I'm not sure when I told them.
It's a police officer actually called you back
Yes,
to inquire about your having disabled the exterior camera to the house, correct?
correct,
That was after you'd left the police department.
correct.
And that was the first time that the officer that you would ever disclose that you had disabled the exterior Ring video camera. Am I correct?
No,
All right, let's see if this refreshes just want to make sure I understand and I hear your voice. This is a video of the phone call between you and a police officer. Tell me whether or not you recognize or hear your voice. Stop playing.
I just had a quick question for you. I just got done talking with Andrew, and I'm trying to put all this together. One of the questions I have is why you unplugged the cameras.
So his phone has this chime that goes off whenever the camera is walked by. He was basically just worried not having him wake up, I guess, when he grabbed his phone. And echoing inside.
Right, but the cameras would have already gone off because you were already in the house.
Yeah, so I first wanted to go to the computer to see if I could do it in the computer without having to touch his phone being next to him. And so I knew I was going to be walking around and the screen was going off. You know what I mean?
Wait a second. Stop.
Right, because
Hang on. Stop. How are we going to transcribe this?
Well, this video unfortunately is difficult to hear. So this is the video that we were given, Your Honor. So.
Do you have, go ahead.
Do you remember that phone call, ma'am?
yes,
Did you hear the officer asking you why you had disabled the cameras?
yes,
And you hear the officer asking you, questioning you, but wait, the cameras would have already gone off. You're already in the house. Did you hear him ask you that?
yes,
And isn't it true this is the very first time that in this phone call, you had ever conceded or brought up, or whatever word you want to use with it, that that you had disabled the exterior ring camera?
No.
My last question for you is, I'm not going to use this anymore, so we can kind of turn this off.
Sure.
It doesn't.
And you're going to retain that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Ma'am, we listened to your interaction with the police on the video when you were talking to the police. Yes?
Yes.
We just heard your interaction with the two police officers when you were in the lobby of the police department, correct?
Part of it, yes.
Yes. And you referred to the phone as his phone. Am I right?
Correct.
Judge, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Carterassi, how long were you and the defendant married?
Since 2021, so 3 years.
And did you both live together at 25801 Chelsea Creek Lane?
Yes.
How long did you live at that address?
Since a month before we got married, or a month or so.
You indicated that there was spyware on your computer. When did you find out about that spyware?
A few days before.
How did you find out it was on your computer?
I found it on my computer hardware.
Do you know how it got there?
He put it on there. Andrew
When you
put it
say
on there.
he, I'm so sorry. When you say he, who do you mean?
Andy put it on there.
And
My only objection is I'm going to move to strike the speculation, lack of foundation.
Sustained. I'm going to strike that answer. You're going to have to establish more foundation.
yes, Your Honor. Do you know who put that spyware on there?
I know who put it on there, yes.
Did you do it?
No.
Did you ever find out who did it?
Yes.
How did you find out?
I got confirmation from the person, and they told me they were going to take it off.
Okay, and who told you they were going to take it off?
Andy told me he was going to take it off.
So let's go back to the night of this incident, which was April 10th, 2024. Did you have keys to the home at that time?
Yes.
And were you allowed to go in and out freely?
Yes.
So why did you go back to that home at night on that day?
I wanted to get a code sent to his email or phone to get the spyware taken off my computer.
And when you went there, why did you choose to disable that Ring camera that you testified to disabling?
I didn't want to.
Can you please clarify who, when you say him?
I didn't want Andy to wake up
Okay.
and get angry.
Why did you not want him to wake up?
I was scared that he would get angry.
And when you went inside, why did you turn off the kitchen camera?
It makes a noise every time you walk by it. And his phone was right under him.
Okay, and why did you not want that noise to happen?
I was scared that he would get angry that I was there while he was sleeping. There was an incident 10 years ago where
Objection. I'm going to object to relevance, non-responsive.
It's not responsive. I'll strike that portion, the last portion, there was an incident 10 years ago. Everything else will remain on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. And then as for the passwords, or let me rephrase. Did you and the defendant ever share passwords to your devices?
Yes.
Okay. And did you know the password to his devices prior to April 10th, 2024?
Yes.
And on that day, on April 10th, 2024, were you able to access those devices with the passwords that you knew?
No.
And did you know that those passwords had been changed?
Not until that night.
Now, I want to talk about the video that you were just shown where the officers were talking to you. Did you tell those officers that he did not point the gun at you?
Yes. Just
And
by pointing it
did the
forward.
officer make a hand gesture when he asked this?
Yes.
Can you demonstrate that hand gesture? And let the record reflect the witness is using her right arm pointing it toward me parallel to the ground with a straight arm to indicate what the officer.
With her index finger, correct? Correct, ma'am?
Correct.
Who's that?
And what did you answer when he when he asked you that question?
I said, no, he didn't point it at me while making the same gesture. I said he held it up to my head.
And at that time,
against my chest. Sorry.
Thank you. And at that time, did you mean that he did not point it straight at you?
Yes.
And how did he point the gun at you then?
It was up against under my neck. The barrel was facing towards my neck, but it was like laying against my chest. He was very close to me.
And I want to talk about the gun that you saw that night. Could you describe it, please?
Yes, it was a black gun. I believe it was a Smith & Wesson.
And did you ever see it prior to that night?
Yes.
To your knowledge, was the defendant the owner of that gun?
Yes.
Did you ever see any other firearms in the residence?
No. Besides my own, I have a CPL as well. Or I did at the time.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect, any recross, I'm sorry.
I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
Ma'am, you can step down. Thank you very much. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, could we please take a couple minutes?
How long
just
is
a quick
this gonna
break.
take? How many more witnesses do you have?
We do have two officers, Your Honor. They would be quick, but again, I can't guarantee that, unfortunately.
Your Honor, if I may, I just need a 2-minute bathroom break, please.
Can you both make it next Tuesday in the afternoon again? It's 4:15 or thereabouts. I'm sorry to make anybody leave, but we can do this next Tuesday. I'd prefer that. You good? Pardon?
So we can't finish today, Your Honor.
I mean, it's 4:15.
I understand. I'm not trying to.
I mean, if nobody can make it next Tuesday, I'll be happy to accommodate. But I've been on this bench pretty much all day today.
Trying just to check my.
Are you available, Ms.
Was the court
Waller?
going to 4:30 today, no matter what, or we done now?
Well, I mean, we're not going to finish by 4:30. If I thought we were going to finish by 4:30, I'd keep going. But otherwise, I just assume move till next Tuesday at 1, unless I have something on there. Lisa, do I have anything that would prevent me from doing that next Tuesday at 1?
Let me check.
Are you good then, Mr. Regan?
No, my calendar isn't pulling up.
Are you good?
Here,
I'm available that day.
1 o'clock is good, but it looks like you have sobriety court at 3.
Yeah, that's okay.
Can I look up next?
Oh, I thought I had sobriety court tomorrow.
We
No?
do.
That's
Judge,
right.
Oh, you know
I'm
what?
not available.
It's just one. They might have made an error. Just one person.
What time can you make it?
Judge, I'm not available on the 25th.
Do you guys have another day? Can you come here on another day or not really?
Besides Tuesday,
Yeah, or not really?
like another day of the week,
Yes.
I can, but not Monday. Mondays I'm in the 23rd district.
This is Tuesday, so.
Tuesdays I'm always available. I'm here
Yeah, I know.
every Tuesday.
So you can't do it at all next Tuesday, Mr. Rockeye?
I would
Can you make it at 2?
I would prefer to try to finish today. I don't know if they have a lot left. I'm not trying to be pushy, Judge.
Hey, if you guys think you can finish it in the next half an hour or 40 minutes, that's fine. I don't like rushing people. If you think you can do it, I'll take a 5-minute recess. We'll come back in 5 minutes. You want to try it?
I believe I can be done with my examination quickly, but I don't know about the cross-examination.
I know. I'll be back in 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Stay seated. Go back on record. All right, we're back on record. Everybody's here. You can call your next witness.
Your Honor, I do apologize. I am going to request that we adjourn if the officers have to work
Tonight, and they had worked last night. They have a 12-hour shift coming up. I don't know.
All right, can you do it next Tuesday at all, Mr. Rockheim?
Can we come at 3 next Tuesday, Your Honor?
Gosh, you guys are pushing me.
Okay, I'm not pushing anybody.
Can you be here at 2 or not?
You can tell me to be here at 2.
Well, I mean, if you got a court date, I understand. If you don't, then I'd rather start at 2. It's not gonna kill me if you're telling me I can't get here till 3. Is that what you're saying?
I will get her between 2 and 3.
We'll make it 2:30, okay? 2:30 next, the 25th. The first, I have so many, it's ridiculous. So that wouldn't work. So March 25th, 2:30. I'll see you all then. Thank you very much. And I'm going to retain these copies. And why don't you bring that thumb drive next week, okay? Thank you. All right, I'm sorry. People against Andrew Scartarazzi from 25B710359. Appearances, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nora Ollie on behalf of the people.
Neil Rockheim for Andrew Scartarazzi.
Sir, your name?
Andrew Scartarazzi.
Detective?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Detective Crystal Tulas, Brownstown Police Department.
All right, so we have a sequestration order in effect. I assume none of these are witnesses back here except the officer who will testify first, correct, Ms. Ali?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is there anything else we need to bring up before we go on?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Rackine?
Not for me.
Who did you say, Lisa, is on Zoom or?
They just disconnected. They didn't have their name on
Okay.
there. They just said it was for this case.
Do either of you know who that could be?
I do not know.
Mr. Rackine?
No.
Okay, all right. Call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The people call Officer Jacob Lieb.
Okay. All right, officer, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you'll give in these proceedings will be the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, you may proceed. Is it L-E-I-B?
L-I-E-B.
L-I-E-B. My apologies.
Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Officer Jacob Lieb.
Mr. Lieb, where do you work?
I work in Brownstown Township as a police officer on patrol.
How long have you been employed there?
I've been employed at Brownstown for just under 2 years. I've been a police officer for 9 years.
What are your roles and responsibilities in this capacity?
As of right now, I'm a patrol officer on night shift in the Brownstown Township.
Were you working in this capacity on April 10th, 2024?
I was, yes.
And what were you doing that day?
Everything that would entail a normal night shift on patrol, answering calls for service, more specifically.
Could you just move up closer to that microphone and keep your voice up a little bit, please? Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you repeat the answer just because it was a little low?
I was answering calls for service most of the night, including the call that we received.
Okay, and you indicated a call was received. Do you recall who that call was received from?
From our dispatched me to the Brownstown Police Department station's lobby.
Were you in the lobby at that time?
I was not. I responded there.
And when you responded, did you make contact with anybody?
I did. I made contact with our victim in this case, Chantel Sadarsky, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
And what happened when she was there?
So we were dispatched there in regards to a domestic violence complaint. I made contact with Chantel. She informed me that she had gotten into an altercation with her husband.
Object any hearsay.
Any response?
I can withdraw the question. We can
I'll
strike what you
sustain,
said
you can
about.
rephrase. How's that?
Yes. Well, I had asked what happened when she was there.
And he started to say what she told him.
Yeah, so we can, what he said before that should be.
Well, that will remain on the record, but anything, he didn't really answer it. He just started and she said, and then he objected and I said, I'll sustain it. So you can rephrase your question if you'd like.
Okay, I can rephrase the question. That's okay. When she arrived, what was her demeanor like?
She appeared upset.
Okay. And did you make a report based off of, or did you make a report that night?
I did, yes.
And was your body cam on and functioning that night?
It was.
Did anything else happen that night?
I interviewed the female, Chantel. I also interviewed the other party involved, Andrew. They both completed witness statements, and I typed a report based off both of their stories.
I don't mean to interject, but one thing I want to say, Mr. Rockeye, you brought the thumb drive with you.
I had it yesterday.
So you're just going to retain that. We're just going to know that that's the thumb drive because the exhibits go back to you. But
Yes,
I remembered I told you to bring it today. And
Yes, and I have.
okay, so that's the way we'll play that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I'm just trying to recall. Okay. And did anything else happen after those interviews?
No, I typed my report and submitted it to the Detective Bureau for further investigation.
Okay. Just one moment. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for opening the door for me as I walked into the courthouse. I appreciate that. I appreciated that courtesy.
You're welcome.
Officer Lieb, let me, it's pronounced Lieb, correct?
Correct.
And you're in plain clothes, but you have a badge on. So are you a detective now or?
Nope. This is my uniform for court today.
Yes, sir. I'm going to touch on a few different areas and try to get through them as quickly as I can. If I ask a question that's confusing, you just tell me. All right?
Okay.
Now, your answers, have to be verbal. So they have to be out loud as opposed to a nod or a shake of the head. You understand that?
Yes.
You wrote a report in this case, yes?
Yes.
I presume at some point you've looked at it before you actually submitted it, yes? And I presume that at some point you looked at it before testifying today?
Yes.
You reviewed it today in the prosecutor's conference room?
I did, yes.
Now, there are certain things about report writing. I just want to kind of go through those relatively quickly. There's a purpose in preparing reports, yes?
Yes.
The purpose is to memorialize things that occurred?
Yes.
You try to write it as when things are still fresh in your mind?
Yes.
You try to document things that are relevant and important, yes? And you're trained when you write a report to include the relevant and important facts?
Yes.
And you're trained to write an accurate and complete report. Is that true?
Yes.
And when you're satisfied, and when I started, officers actually wrote reports, but now you guys type them out. Yes?
Yes.
And so when you start typing your report and you finish typing it, you're able to review it. And when you're satisfied that you've discharged your duty to prepare an accurate, complete, and and reliable report, you then print it and submit it as your official report in the case. Am I correct?
Yes,
And you did that in this case?
I did, yes.
You also submitted body camera in this case. Am I correct?
Yes,
Now, you had body camera for when Ms. Scardarossi was your original encounter with her in the lobby of the police station.
that's correct, yes.
You have a subsequent body camera with her when when you exit to hand her a blank written statement or a statement to fill out.
I would imagine is that on the same body camera?
Well, do you recall if it's the same body camera or not?
If you said subsequent, so I just wanted to clarify. It should be my same body camera, yes.
Yeah, but is it a different actual recording? Or don't you know?
I don't recall.
You actually then made a third recording where you recorded a telephone interaction with Ms. Scardarossi, yes?
Yes.
Objection. He was testifying.
He's asking a
He's talking
question.
about
He's
third
asking a
recording.
question, leading question. It's okay. It's cross, overruled.
Yes?
Yes.
And then you were wearing body camera when you actually went out and spoke with Mr. Scardarossi.
Yes, that's correct.
You reviewed your body camera before testifying today?
I did, yes.
How many different body camera did you review before testifying today?
Just myself.
Just your own?
My own.
The ones that I just referred to?
Yes.
Lobby interaction with Ms. Scardarossi? Yes?
Yes.
Body camera interview where you handed her a witness statement to fill out?
If that was included in my body camera, I watched my body camera from the entirety of the interview in the lobby with Ms. Chantel Suttergoski.
I'm just trying to.
In other words, what you're telling us, you didn't see on that body cam, you handing her a statement to fill out?
That's what I'm asking him. That was my next question, Judge.
Is that what you're telling us?
I believe. Can you rephrase the question? I'm trying to clarify. I watched my body camera in its entirety from my interaction with Chantel.
I understand. The end of your body camera, what was the last thing that you observed on your body camera with Ms. Scardarossi?
I don't recall.
You just watched it.
I didn't just watch it. I watched it when I was preparing for this case. It was not just a second ago. Okay. I don't recall what my last interaction was.
How long ago did you prepare for testifying today by watching your body camera?
I reviewed my body camera footage on Sunday night while I was working.
All right. So I'm going to ask the same question the judge asked. When you reviewed your body camera, did you see you handing Ms. Scardarossi a witness statement to fill out?
I do not recall. I did have her fill one out.
Did you see on your body camera you handing Ms. Scardarossi a victim notification card?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's a different question. There's a purpose to this last question, if you let me ask it. And saying goodbye to her, like watching her leave the station.
If that was the last interaction, I don't recall if she was walking away or what my last interaction was. I would have handed her a victim rights card with the report number.
I'm just asking if you saw that on your video.
I don't recall.
Preparing. And how about, did you see when you were watching your videos in preparation for testifying today, your interview or your phone call with Ms. Scardarossi that was on speakerphone?
I did see that, yes.
And you saw that in preparation for today?
Yes.
In your police report, you never wrote that Ms. Scardarossi pointed, or that Mr. Scardarossi pointed the barrel of the gun at Mrs. Scardarossi's neck. Am I correct?
That's correct. I did not write that.
You never wrote that Mrs. Scadarassi demonstrated with her finger to her neck the barrel of the gun pointed at her. Am I correct?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yes, you never wrote in your report that Mrs. Scadarassi demonstrated the barrel of the gun pointed at her neck. Am I correct?
That's correct.
In fact, Mrs. Scadarassi told you that the gun was never pointed at her. Am I correct?
You are correct.
And in your report, you wrote, Chantel noted that Andrew kept the handgun in the holster during this incident and never pointed the firearm directly at her. Isn't that what you wrote in your report?
That is correct.
One of the things that you do as a police officer is, of course, when you interview witnesses, you're trying to get information, right?
Correct.
And you're also trying to assess credibility, right?
Correct.
And you pay attention to whether a witness's story changes. Am I correct?
Correct.
And where the witness changes stories or changes the narrative, that could be evidence that the witness is not being truthful.
It could be, correct.
You weren't told, as your report reflects and as you testified a moment ago, that Mr. Scadarassi ever had the barrel of the gun pointed to Mrs. Scadarassi's neck. Am I correct?
You are correct.
You would agree that the neck and the head are two different parts of the body.
That's correct.
Pointed to the neck is different than next to the head, correct?
Correct.
Had the gun been pointed, or had Mrs. Scadarassi at any point said the gun was in any way pointed at her, head, neck, chest, anywhere, you would have noted that in your report. Am I right?
That's correct.
That's an important detail.
That is, yes.
And she never told you that?
She did not, no.
Now, Mrs. Scadarassi, well, strike that. You're aware that Mr. Scadarassi owns a company. Are you aware of that?
They may have mentioned it on scene. I don't know what the company would be, the name of the company or any of their roles in the company.
Well, one way to assess a witness's credibility, particularly in a case like this, is to attempt to corroborate what a witness tells you, right?
Correct.
So in the interview, Mrs. Scadarassi says that she owns a company. Correct?
I don't recall if she says she owns it or she works there or they own it together. I don't recall.
Did you do any research to attempt to evaluate that?
No.
Did you do any checks on Lara or on a state corporate website to see if that's true?
I did not know.
So you don't know if she was lying to you or misrepresenting who owned the company when she interviewed you?
Objection, Your Honor. All of this is irrelevant at this point, whether he did the Lara search and whether or not she had spoken about the business.
That he doesn't remember whether she said she owned it, he owned it, or they both owned it.
And I'm asking whether he did anything to determine whether or not she misrepresented that.
But then you said something about lying. Repeat your last question.
Certainly. You said, you didn't do anything to determine whether Mrs. Scadarassi was lying or misrepresenting her role in that company, did you? That's my question.
Okay, but he doesn't remember what she said. So I'm going to ask you to move on.
Okay.
That's not a proper question.
Okay, Ron. Now, in your report, you repeatedly referred to Mr. Scadarassi's phone as his phone. Yes?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And Mr. Scadarassi referred to, when she interviewed with you or when you spoke with her, referred to Mr. Scadarassi's phone as his phone, H-I-S, his phone, correct?
Correct.
She never said that his phone was, quote, marital property, did she?
No.
She never referred to it as marital property, did she?
No.
She never indicated to you that, well, it's ours, so I have I can look at it because it's part of the marriage.
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
I think I've made the point. She referred, yes, Your Honor, multiple times. Now, it's important when you're interviewing a witness to actually to be actively listening. Yes?
That's correct.
So when the witness says something, to actually like pause and think, why did the witness use that word, or why did they say that? Yes?
It would be helpful.
Helpful.
Yes.
Mrs. Scatarassi, I could characterize her conduct to you as vindictive. She used that word vindictive. Do you recall that?
I do not recall that.
Did you inquire of her? Let me ask you a question. There was a discussion about her sneaking into the home. You were interviewing her and she said she had snuck into the home at night, 1-something in the morning. You remember that?
I recall that conversation, yes.
Does it help refresh your memory about her referring to her behavior as vindictive?
I don't recall using that terminology.
Not you,
hearing that terminology. I don't recall.
Okay. Let's talk about what consent means. You're familiar with the word consent or permission, yes?
Yes.
As a police officer, you know consent means that someone is giving you permission, or that another person has the ability or has said it's okay to do something, yes?
Yes.
Okay. In regards to the phone, I mean, there's obviously a couple of different ways as a police officer to establish consent. I'm going to go through those with you, okay? One is if a person says, yeah, I had consent, like they actually gave me written consent, for example. Yes?
Yes.
Another is if there's actually circumstances that show that the person did or did not have consent, right?
Yes.
Mrs. Scatarassi told you that she did not have consent to access Mr. Scatarassi's phone, correct?
I don't know if she used the word consent, but.
Finish your thought.
She told me that she went over there and retrieved his cell phone.
Objection, hearsay.
All right. This is actually a prior inconsistent statement, because I asked Mrs. Scatarassi these questions, and
so you're just saying you're going to use it for impeachment?
Correct, Your Honor. Yes.
Overruled. But you are asking a lot of hearsay questions.
Well, these are all.
They're not all inconsistent statements. So
the record will bear that out, but I'll make my argument to the court at the appropriate time. She specifically said on the issue of consent, there's no way he'd ever give me any kind of code while he is awake. Remember her saying that?
I believe so, yes.
That's evidence of a lack of consent.
Objection, that calls for a legal conclusion.
Any response to that?
What's that?
She said that calls for a legal conclusion.
I don't know that it does, but I'm asking for the officer's assessment. So.
He's not a lawyer. I'm going to ask you to move on.
Okay.
Sustain the objection. If you answered that, I'm striking it.
She never said to you, I had permission or I had consent to access his phone at while he was sleeping at 1-something in the morning, did she?
No, she did not.
And she indicated to you that they were separated, like marital separation?
No.
Okay. Tell me about his computer. What did she say about his laptop?
I don't recall.
Objection, irrelevant.
Well, it goes to it's impeachment again. Goes to prior inconsistent statement.
You've got to be more specific.
I'll be more specific. She never even mentioned.
Well, I'm asking you to be more specific with what statement that's.
Oh, sure.
Mentioned.
Sure.
Well, she never denied that she.
You know what? I'll withdraw and I'll rephrase it to make it easier. In your interview with you, Mrs. Scatarassi never said to you, so by omission, she omitted sharing with you that she'd attempted to access Mr. Scatarassi's laptop in his home that night. Am I correct?
I don't recall. She attempted to retrieve a passcode from his cell phone.
His cell phone.
Yes.
She never told you. You have no recollection of her telling you that she attempted to access his laptop. Am I correct?
I don't recall that.
Would you agree that if she had indicated that you made reference to the phone in your report, correct? Yes. There's no reference to the laptop in your report. Isn't that true?
That's true.
And had she told you that she tried to access his laptop, that would be something that you would have put in your report.
Depending on if she removed it from the home or if it had anything to do with these allegations, it would have been noted.
Okay. All right, I want to focus for a second on one more issue with Mrs. Scatarassi, if I could. So between 1:40 and about 1:50 was your first conversation with Ms. Scardarossi in the lobby of the police department. Giving you a time frame, about 10 minutes. Yes?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Yes, it sounds pretty accurate.
During that interaction with Mrs. Scardarossi, she never said to you that she disabled any of the security cameras in the home. Am I correct?
You are correct. She did not tell me that.
Your second conversation with Ms. Scardarossi was between 2 o'clock and 5 seconds or so and 2:09, somewhere in that range, about 9 minutes.
That sounds accurate.
She didn't mention it the second time either, did she?
I don't believe so, no.
You asked her to write out a written statement, yes? Or she was willing to write one out?
She was willing and she did, yes.
Now you don't tell people what to write in their written statement, correct?
Correct.
You don't tell them to conceal or omit facts, do you?
I do not.
You don't say, look, just put part of this in there, but anything that may look bad for you, feel free to leave out. You would never do that.
No.
And if I were to say to you that there's a claim that you told Mrs. Scardarossi not to include any reference to the cameras being disabled, you would say that's false.
I would say that's false. Correct.
And if I were to say to you that Mrs. Scardarossi or someone, there's a claim that you told her to just exclude certain information from her written statement, you would also say that's false.
Correct.
Now, as Mrs. Scardarossi was leaving at about 2:37 in the morning, so we're now about an hour or so into your interaction with her. She's still at the police station. And as she's about leaving, there is a discussion about the interior kitchen camera, correct?
I don't recall.
Okay. At that point, prior to her leaving the police station, she never mentioned to you that she had disabled the front door ring camera, correct?
That's correct.
At 3:41, now at 3:41 in the morning, you call Mrs. Scardarossi on the phone, yes?
Mr. Scardarossi?
Mrs. Scardarossi.
Mrs. Scardarossi, I did contact her.
Now, this is 2 hours after your first interaction with her.
Yes.
After multiple interactions with her in the lobby of the police department, yes?
Yes.
And after having gone out to the scene and speaking with Mr. Scardarossi, am I correct?
Correct.
And you return, and Mr. Scardarossi had shared some information with you. He had shared some ring camera videos with you.
Correct.
You got information from him about the ring camera videos that Mrs. Scardarossi didn't tell you about.
That's correct.
If I were to ask you, if someone said, well, Mrs. Scardarossi told you about the disabling the exterior camera at the house, at the police department, that would just be untrue, correct?
Correct.
You called her on the phone, yes?
That's correct.
And you put her on speakerphone, right?
Yes.
And you had a purpose in calling her, right?
Yes.
And the purpose in calling her was to question her about information that you got from Mr. Scardarossi, specifically about the ring cameras that she didn't tell you about.
That's correct.
And you confronted her about, one, why didn't she tell you, right?
That's correct.
And you confronted her about why she disabled the exterior camera and why she disabled the interior camera.
That's correct.
And one of the things that you do is when you investigate a case is you're obviously looking for evidence of the allegation of the alleged crime. Yes?
That's correct.
When you were speaking with Mr. Scatarassi, this is a question that he asked you. He put the question, you had said, well, you had already talked to her and you'd already talked to Mrs. Scatarassi. Yes?
I don't recall if he asked that question or not.
Well, let me see if this refreshes your recollection. If not, I can go to the video. He inquired of you, what did she say happened? What was her version? Remember that question?
I do not recall him asking that specific question. If he did ask it, I don't recall.
Do you remember actually explaining her version to Mr. Scatarassi as, quote, it's out there, unquote?
I don't recall.
When you used the phrase, it's out there, have you used that phrase before?
Objection, asked and answered.
I don't
Your Honor.
recall.
He said
Wait
he
a
didn't
minute.
use the- Would you like me to repeat?
Yeah.
I said asked and answered. He had already said that he never used that phrase.
Sustained.
Okay. I don't think
You want to rephrase? Go ahead.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Have you ever, in the course of your, how old are you?
31.
In the course of your 31 years, have you ever heard that phrase in just common jargon, like it's out there?
Objection, Your Honor. None of this is relevant.
I disagree. He's investigating the case, and I'm going to lead up to the point. I'll make my offer of proof.
Go ahead.
He literally told Mr. Scatarassi that which I'll play on the video in a moment, that Mrs. Scatarassi's version was, quote, it's out there, which I believe is a reference to it's so strange, it's so out there, like bizarre. And then there was a further discussion later on where.
Listen, I'm going to let you ask that question, but you're really asking, I've been sitting here and she's not objecting. You're really asking for a lot of hearsay both ways.
This one is hearsay? Okay.
Well, yeah, if he's repeating what she said, it's out there.
Oh, he's saying, that's his statement.
It's out there.
It's out there. Like to characterize.
Ask this question, but I'm just telling you, you're going through a lot of hearsay.
Okay. Yeah. The phrase it's out there, you understand, you've used it or heard of it in just common jargon. You've understand it to be used as bizarre. It's something that's strange.
I think that it could be interpreted as one way that you could use that word.
Which way did you mean it?
I don't recall saying it in the first place.
Okay.
You thought her account was strange.
Objection, speculation, Your Honor.
Well, that's
I
not
would try.
Speculation, but it's argumentative.
I would try. There came a point further where you were talking to Mr. Scatarassi and you were discussing what evidence there was that you had gathered in your investigation about, I'm talking about of either his account or her account, correct?
Correct.
And is it true that you said that there was no evidence? I'm just asking about your statement to Mr. Scatarassi, So you said there's no evidence of Mrs. Scatarassi's claims. Isn't that what you told Mr. Scatarassi at his house?
I don't recall.
Did you ever check, one way to attempt to verify at least part of her account was to check her computer for spyware? Right?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. She complained of spyware being on her computer.
Objection, Your Honor. It calls for hearsay.
I would try. Did you investigate whether Mrs. Scatarassi's computer had any spyware on it?
I did not know.
How do you know that she wasn't searching for financial data in the course of her separation from her husband?
Objection, Your Honor. That calls for speculation.
I'm asking, how does he know?
It calls for speculation. It's not relevant.
Okay. Well, let's go to this. So another way, you understood that there was a claim that Mrs. Scatarassi had taken Mr. Scatarassi's money from his home, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Scatarassi's firearm, correct?
Correct.
You didn't search Mrs. Scatarassi's clothing, pockets, or anything else to check if she had money on her, correct?
Correct.
You didn't search her pockets, didn't search a purse, you didn't search her vehicle, correct?
Correct.
I recognize that you could have could have sought different ways to have searched any of those things to look for evidence corroborating Mr. Scotarassi's claim that she had taken the money.
I know, but you're still talking about hearsay.
What's the hearsay?
How is that?
I'm asking if he did anything to corroborate.
Mr. Scotarassi, you're referring to statements that Mr. Scotarassi's made, right?
I'm past that. I'm now referring to whether an investigation, did he actually conduct any investigation? Didn't search her pockets, didn't search her vehicle, didn't search Mrs. Scotarassi's purse. Did you search any of those things?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're really filling this thing with hearsay. I'm not saying anything. The prosecutor isn't objecting. When you're asking him about statements that he makes, unless there's an exception, it's hearsay. If you're asking what your client stated, unless it's admission against interest, and I know you're too good to ask those kinds of questions, it's hearsay unless you have an exception. I'm just asking you to move on. Okay?
Okay, I'm not dealing with hearsay here, Your Honor.
Well, you've been dealing with hearsay. If you haven't asked at least 20 questions that call for hearsay in the last 35, then I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I beg to differ, but I'll
ask your next question.
Sure.
We'll take it one at a time.
Did you search Mrs. Scotarassi's vehicle?
I did not.
Did you search Mrs. Scotarassi's phone?
I did not.
Did you search Mrs. Scotarassi's? Did you do any investigation at all of the path between let me back up. The path between Mr. Scotarassi's home and the police station? Did you go look at that path?
The route she drove.
The route she drove.
I did not.
When you arrived at Mr. Scotarassi's home, you sought to interview him. Am I correct?
That's correct.
He cooperated with you?
He did.
He spoke with you and agreed to write a written statement. Am I correct?
He did, yes.
You never searched Mr. Scotarassi's home for a gun?
I did not.
Never searched Mr. Scotarassi's home for the money that was reportedly missing?
I did not.
Never searched Mr. Scotarassi's vehicle for the gun or the money?
That's correct.
What my point is, who reported that the money was missing?
I hadn't asked that question.
Yeah, you did. You said you didn't check for the money that was reported stolen. Reportedly stolen. So where did that come from? It had to come from somebody. He wasn't there. There's no evidence he saw it on the camera. Somebody had to ask the question. Somebody had to make the statement, and it's hearsay, or it's a lack of foundation, or both. Okay, can we move on?
Judge, let me make my record. Humbly and respectfully, I disagree. I think that there's no evidence in this case of the allegations that Mrs. Scotarassi made against Mr. Scotarassi. I believe that not only is there no evidence of it, but I believe that Mrs. Scotarassi's credibility is nil.
I understand where you're going.
And I believe that I'm entitled, in fact, I would say that I'm duty bound to follow up with what investigation the police did to investigate whether Mr. Scotarassi, whether the money was missing, whether there was a gun, any of the things, that Mrs. Scotarassi happened to claim. Remember, she denied taking his money. She denied taking the gun. She wasn't, and she testified to that, as I recall. She wasn't searched. Her vehicle wasn't searched.
I don't remember hearing her ever say that there was. The only time I ever heard anything about anybody saying that there was an accusation of money being stolen was that she reported that when she was testifying that that's what your client said. You stole my effing money is what she testified to, as I recall it, which would be deemed an admission, right? It's against his interest. It's not in support of his interest.
It's against his interest to claim that she stole his money?
I'm saying that there was a reason why you're not going to object to hearsay. That is not hearsay. If the prosecutor's introducing that statement, as she did on direct, that's not hearsay. We know, I mean,
I'll share with you my recollection. My recollection, again, this is my recollection. My recollection is that Mrs. Scatarassi she testified on direct examination and testified on cross-examination that she didn't take his gun and that she didn't take his money. And I believe that I not only is it important and relevant, but I think I'm duty bound to ask this detective, this officer, when you interviewed her, did you just took her word for it? Did you pat her down? Did you look? Did you examine her? There were conversations about the money and the gun.
Why don't you ask the next question? We'll go from there. Go ahead. Ask your next question. I mean, I think you pretty much established he didn't do any of the follow-up that you think he should have done. He didn't go and check for the spyware. He didn't go and search for the gun. He didn't investigate whether or not money was stolen.
What's the reason? And I appreciate that. But for purposes of the case,
because you're saying it goes to her credibility, I get all that. I'm just saying you've established all of that, don't you think? I mean, which aspect of that have you established?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope we've established it. So, ring cameras are something that police officers are now forced to or are accustomed to dealing with on a regular basis. Yes,
that's correct.
Did you go to any of the neighboring homes around Mr. Scatarassi's home and check if they had any ring camera showing Mr. Scatarassi entering or leaving the home?
No. To clarify, his ring camera shows her approaching the home and entering.
He has neighbors.
Yes.
I'm talking about the neighbors.
No.
Shows her entering the home. Yes?
It shows her approaching the home.
And
the secondary camera shows her inside the home.
Yes. I'm talking about.
We did not go to the neighbors.
Neighbors to see whether she was walking out with something in her hands, or whether she was walking out with a gun, or walking out with money, or walking out with anything, or walking out barehanded, right?
That's correct. We did not.
You've responded to domestic violence calls in the past, haven't you?
That's correct.
And you understand that where there's reasonable cause, as a police officer, reasonable cause to believe that a crime of domestic violence occurred, you can make an arrest of the alleged perpetrator, correct?
Correct.
Despite Mrs. Scatarassi making her claims to you at the police department, you did not go out and arrest Mr. Scatarassi on that date. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Mrs. Scatarassi did not evidence any physical injury. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Apart from her word, there was no evidence of her allegations. Am I correct?
That's correct.
I have a second, Chairman.
Sure.
Thank you. Nothing else, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor, briefly.
I'm going to ask a couple questions.
Yes.
You said you looked at the tape of the interview between you and her in the lobby of the police station.
I did. That's
correct.
correct.
You did that on Sunday night, 2 days ago? Is that to understand correctly?
Yes.
When I watched the video, when Mr. Reignite played that video, I was a little unclear as to where she was pointing to.
Correct.
You testified she didn't indicate to you in a written statement that he pointed the gun at her.
Correct. According to her, it stayed in the holster. He grabbed her with his left hand by the hair and raised the firearm near her head. She told us that it did not point at her. He didn't point it at her. He raised it up near her head while he was holding her hair.
Go ahead.
And I want to ask you about what you just said to the judge there. You said that she said he didn't point it at her.
That's correct.
Did she say that it was next to her head?
She said he pulled it up near her head and then did a motion of the firearm or
keep your voice up.
She said that it was not pointed at her. It was near her head.
So you stated that on cross, you stated that you documented in your report that the victim told you that the gun was never pointed at her.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. But did you document in your report what the victim stated happened with the gun?
Yes.
And during your interview with the victim, with the complaining witness, did she demonstrate to you what had happened with the gun?
She held up her arm like this.
And describe for me what you're doing right now.
I'm holding a fist where I was assuming that she was showing how he was motioning with the firearm in his hand.
And Judge, just for the record, because we can't see.
Yeah, you have to describe it. So you've got a closed fist somewhere about 3-4. God, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Right.
3-4 inches from the right side of your jaw. Correct.
Correct. So she said, his left arm. Would you like me to stand up?
Yeah, stand up and demonstrate it the best that you can.
According to her, he had her hair with his left hand, with a holstered firearm, was making statements and holding the firearm near her head.
Okay, and right now you're about 10 inches with your fist, which I suppose you're trying to describe as being the firearm.
Correct.
From the right side of your jaw. Is that true or false?
I'm just saying
I want you to tell me.
He's in the middle of this.
I don't want him to say it. I don't want me to.
Towards her head, whether it was right here or farther out.
And right here, you said you had near the temple, and then you pulled your arm back out about another 15 inches. True. At one point, you said she had her hand up here, and you had it by her temple. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to redo it, I want it. It has to be described here. And then you pulled your fist away, and it was about 18 inches from 15 inches, I would say, from your head. Is that true?
That's the best of what I recall of her telling me the events that happened.
So somewhere between 2 inches and 15 inches.
Yeah, roughly. I mean, she said it was right up next to her head.
Okay.
Next to, I guess, could be interpreted. 2 inches, 15 inches. I think in the realm of if he was holding her hair, I would imagine it was closer rather than farther away.
But one thing I just want to add, if I could, to the visual demonstration, is he has his fist, what looks like to be like around I presume is supposedly holding the gun, but the side of the gun would be to the side of her head, not the barrel ever pointing at her, which is why he wrote the barrel was never pointing at her.
That's correct. She said that he never pointed the gun at her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. On cross, you stated that there was no other evidence besides her allegations. Did you direct her to make a written statement?
I requested if she would like to make one, or I asked her if she would like to make one, and she did.
And is a written statement considered evidence?
That's correct. It could be, yes.
Okay. And did you document in your report whether a threat was made or not?
I did, yes.
Sorry about that. And then I asked you about your report, and then during the interview, did you report that there was a threat made?
I did, yes.
And typically, when you make an arrest, do you typically arrest every individual accused of domestic violence?
No.
Just one moment. Just a few more questions.
Take your time.
When she had demonstrated to you what had happened, did she demonstrate what had happened before she had walked into the police station?
No.
Let
me rephrase that question.
I didn't even understand it. What do you
Yeah.
mean, at what point? You're saying, did she demonstrate what happened before she got there? What do you mean? The whole day, the week, the
I
hour?
will
before?
rephrase the question.
Okay.
So I apologize for that. So you just demonstrated what she showed you with the gun. Did she report that any threat was made when that was happening?
I'm object to hearsay, Your Honor. It's not a prior.
Well, I think you already answered that.
Your report, you testified that it was in the report.
That it was in the report. Okay, so you're asking now, did she indicate whether or not there was a threat made?
Yes.
And you're objecting on the basis of hearsay?
Yes.
Did you have any response?
He did just demonstrate to us what she said and
you can establish foundation for sure if you want to try to do an excited utterance. If you don't, you don't. If you can't establish the foundation, then I'm not going to let it in.
I can establish the foundation, Your Honor. When Ms. Gardarasi entered the police station, and she made a report, to your knowledge, was that report made? How much time had happened in between the report and the incident that was reported?
I believe roughly about a half hour, maybe a little less.
And how did she appear to you?
She appeared upset. I think she was attempting to hold back tears while she was explaining the situation that had just occurred.
And did she cry at all?
I believe she was wiping away tears during our entire encounter.
And when she had come in to make the report, did she indicate to you that a threat had happened?
I object to hearsay.
Did I believe I established foundation there.
I disagree.
I'm going to allow it. I mean, I observed her, and for the record too, the tape that was played certainly showed she was under the stress or excitement of the startling event or condition. So I'm going to ask you to answer that.
Okay, can you rephrase the question for me?
Did she indicate to you that a threat was made?
Did she indicate whether or not a threat was made to her?
That's correct, she did.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any recross?
No.
You can step down. Thank you. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution rests at this time.
Okay. You move the bind over?
Yes, Your Honor. If I may.
Sure. Unless you want Mr. Rockine to argue first, and you can rebut it. It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
I can argue now. Your Honor, I want to kindly remind the court that the charges being considered here for bind over are assault with a dangerous weapon and felony firearm. For an assault with a dangerous weapon, the elements required are first that the defendant either attempted to commit a battery on the complainant or did an act that would cause a reasonable person to fear or apprehend an immediate battery. Second, that the defendant intended either to injure the complainant or to make the complainant reasonably fear an immediate battery. Third, that at the time the defendant had the ability to commit a battery, appeared to have that ability, or thought that he had the ability. And fourth, that it was committed with a dangerous weapon, which, as we know, is an object that is used in a way that is likely to cause serious physical injury or death. In this case, it is a gun. We heard a lot of testimony over the last few days that this exam took place, but the complainant clearly testified that her ex-husband, the defendant, threatened her by putting a gun to her head, showing us exactly how he did it, and that she was placed in fear for her life due to his actions. We saw the body cam footage that shows her fear and panic. We saw her speaking to the police officers almost immediately after the incident had occurred. And it shows exactly how she described it to the police officers, which was consistent with her statement on the stand. Everything that happened outside of this incident, all of the additional circumstances, would just be smoke and mirrors. The reasons why the complainant wanted the laptop password, how she attempted to do it, are all extrinsic factors that will be questions of fact for the trier of fact. The complainant was truthful and credible. She was consistent in her statement here and consistent in statements to the police. And it's important to remember that there's a probable cause standard here. And based on the elements of that assault by a dangerous weapon and the felony firearm that attaches, we believe that the elements have been satisfied and move for a bind over as charged.
Thank you.
We paint an alternative picture, or at least draw the court's attention to an alternative picture that comes from the facts of the case. Woman tells the police that she moved out of her home and she's been out of the home for a week to 10 days. She goes to the home like a burglar, sneaky, dishonest. She goes to the home at 1:40 or so in the morning, 1 something in the morning. Doesn't walk up the walkway, but actually walks up the side through like a burglar, like a stalker. Walks up the side of the home through the landscaping, through the grass, and actually attempts to sort of sulk, hiding herself by a camera, disables an exterior camera so that can't be seen when she actually enters the home, comes into the home, doesn't announce that she's coming, doesn't tell anybody that she's coming over, doesn't seek consent or permission. Quite candidly, there are circumstances where a person who entered into a home at night, even if they believe they had the permission to be there, could be deemed a burglar or someone that was engaged in a home invasion by the homeowner. There are people that if they were asleep and heard someone that they didn't expect to be in their home, would and could have taken action against someone who was engaged in what certainly sounds and looks like a home invasion first degree, entering into a home with intent. An intent to commit a crime inside, to commit a crime within, to commit a felony within. And once inside, they knew or know, or it turns out that a person was inside the home. That's a home invasion first degree. They can call her the victim all they want. Quite candidly, when this exam is over, regardless what happens, we're filing a police report against her. The best thing that happened in this case for her was when Your Honor appointed her a lawyer. The worst thing that happened to Mrs. Scadarassi in this case was when either the prosecutor gave her some sort of permissive, although unspoken, promise that we don't think she needs immunity, or her lawyer or someone advised her that she shouldn't seek to assert a privilege because she admitted to multiple crimes on this record. And one of the most dishonest acts I've seen by a complainant or a complaining witness or person in I don't know how long, but I digress. Inside the home, and we'll get to her credibility in a moment, she takes a phone that she has until the second preliminary examination date identified as his phone. Told the police it was his phone, told the officers it was his phone, wrote it was his phone. The first day of testimony referred to it as his phone. Took that phone and then attempted to gain access to it. without consent or without permission. Whatever person, whether it be on WikiLeaks, whether it be a friend, whether it be a kind detective who knows a friend, whomever gave her the idea that she should come in and testify the second or third time she was here, or the second time she was here, and say that that was marital property when she never characterized that before, did her a disservice because it was a lie. My biggest fear in this case is that the court won't find that she lied and will somehow find that her claims are credible, because they aren't. But she takes the phone out of the house. She goes down the street. She drives down the street. She then attempts to access the phone, which is another crime. Then she drives the phone back, comes into the house. There's an argument. There's absolutely no evidence whatsoever that what she says took place. There's no evidence that he pulled the gun. There's no evidence that he displayed the gun. There's no evidence that he brandished the gun. In fact, were the court to take a look at the video of the video that was played showing Mrs. Scardarassi in the kitchen when she crouched down and hid, although she testified she didn't crouch down and hid, when she testified that she didn't beckon the dog over, although the video shows her beckoning the dog over, that when you look at Mrs. Scardarassi in the home, Judge, take a look. Remember, she testified that the gun, when she entered into the home, was actually on the kitchen counter or on the table. Look, we played the video. The court recalls the video. There was some interesting exchange between the court and the prosecutor about 421 versus 422. Clearly, you weren't referring to the time of day. You were referring to the time on the video. I know you remember that. I remember that. Because we saw Mrs. Scardarassi. You can see in the kitchen, there's no evidence of a gun on the counter. And the police didn't search Mrs. Scardarassi for it. The police and Mr. Scardarassi, as we could tell, because Mrs. Scardarassi said this, there was some question later on. The police questioned her about where the gun was. But never did they actually do any kind of search for evidence in this case. Mrs. Scott, there's an argument. There's a discussion. These are facts now. Put aside, Mrs. Scardarassi leaves. She's in the middle of a separation from Mr. Scardarassi. She has a divorce lawyer, which she admitted to us. She'd already consulted with her divorce lawyer before this happened. There's a dispute over a business. And I addressed some of that with the court. And then she's busted, breaking into the house by Mr. Scardarassi, busted. Like he catches her. She then goes to the police department and it comes up with this story, for which there is not a single shred of evidence. No gun, no money, no wound, no injury. What do we have? We have Mrs. Scardarasi's testimony. Did she act like a person who was trustworthy when she went to the house that day? Take a look at the video. Does an honest person enter into the home by disabling the exterior camera? No. Does a dishonest person traipse through? Does an honest person traipse through their landscaping? No. You could see, and she wanted to quibble with me over how she went about trying to remove the camera. You can see her up against the side of the wall trying to remove the camera, and then it's gone. We would see what happened inside if something had happened if she hadn't disabled the cameras. What a perfect ruse. Take my word for it. There's no evidence, but take my word for it. Even though I disabled the cameras that could have provided evidence of me leaving with the gun or not, as Mr. Scardarassi claimed, leaving with the money or not, as Mr. Scardarassi claimed, or this allegation of a violent assault or an allegation of an assault for which there's no evidence. We would see whether that occurred or not, but we can't. So what do we have? We have Mrs. Scardarasi's word. Let's break down her word. She testified here on her oath. I specifically asked her that, on your oath, did you tell the police when you were at the Brownstown Police Department about disabling the exterior camera? Does the court recall the answer? I do. She swore that on her oath that she did. She swore she had seen the body camera. I know it's there. I know that it's on the camera. I know that that's what I did. I know I told the police that, she said. Except we have the officer who has no stake in the outcome of the case, who literally says, no, she didn't. He had to call her 2 hours later after learning from Mr. Scardarassi about the exterior camera being disabled to actually call and question her as to both why didn't you tell me and why did you do it? That's dishonest. Two, she didn't disclose to the police that she had, when she was in the lobby, disclose to the police the disabling of the interior camera. That came 2 videos later. She didn't disclose to the police. She didn't include any of those facts in her written statement, which we admitted for purposes of impeachment as a defense exhibit. I questioned her about that. She conceded in her written statement. And then what she did is she said, well, the police officer told me not to include those things, to just include certain things in my written statement. And I'm paraphrasing. I asked Officer Lee, did you tell her to admit anything? He says, no, of course not. Another bit of testimony that wasn't true. She testified that he pointed the gun at her neck. I mean, I know the court recalls that testimony. She swore again on her oath that, one, she was very clear. I'm going to use right hand because that's my dominant hand, but she was very clear. Does the court remember how she did it?
Of course I do.
Right. She said that she had her finger, wasn't hard. It's like you do as a child. Remember when we're playing guns and cops and robbers? No offense to the cops. Cops and robbers, or and you have a gun and you use your finger as the barrel. She was very able here in court to demonstrate. She said that took 2 fingers or 1 finger and held it to her neck. I'm not using the correct side. I understand. I'm just demonstrating. She was to my neck. Pointed, and she went to the point of trying to tell us that the gun wasn't, that when I said directly pointed, I was just talking about pointed from afar, not pointed close. Also, we have the officer here testify. What did you put in your report? Never pointed the gun at her. Did you write that the pointed the barrel of the gun at your neck? No. Did she demonstrate that the barrel of the gun was pointed at her neck? No. Did she demonstrate with fingers shaped like a gun that the gun was pointed at her neck? No. Did you write never pointed the gun at her neck? Yes. Had she said that the gun was pointed at her neck, not beside, this allegation of being beside her head, but had you been told that, would that be a fact you put in your report? Yes, because it's an important fact. Not her testimony in court last time and previously was untrue. That's untruthful testimony. What should the prosecutor have done, with all due respect to her? She should have pulled the plug on this case at that point. To stand here and make a claim that the witness was credible, that her story was consistent, without breaking down the details of the case, does a disservice to any witness who's come in here and attempted to be credible and deserves the moniker of credible and consistent. She was anything but credible and anything but consistent. I can break down even more. She testified, said, I thought it was marital property. She didn't testify that. That was her testimony last time. That was after the court had advised her that you were going to appoint her a lawyer, and that she had time to consult with her lawyer, and she had time to talk to the prosecutor, was her testimony, and that she had time to talk to some friend of hers who was a lawyer, who we don't know who that person is. I don't know if it's her divorce lawyer or the guy at the end of the bar that just happens to be a lawyer. I don't know. Who knows? We have no idea. Don't know who that person is. Could be something she read online. I don't know. We don't know. But she used the word his phone, all throughout her discussions with the police, as the officer conceded. But then when, after the court appoints her a lawyer and she talks to somebody and she knows that she's in potential criminal jeopardy, she actually says, I thought it was marital property. So let me get this straight. The credible, reasonable explanation is that you broke into a house after disabling the cameras like a burglar, and you then took the phone that you thought was marital property off your husband's sleeping chest, your soon-to-be ex-husband's sleeping chest, and you left with it. You took it out of the house. I mean, it's preposterous. The story, I mean, quite honestly, I sat there and thought, man, she should plead the fifth. To be frank with you, I'm pleased that she didn't, because I've got a record. So we've got his phone and the change to, I thought it was marital property. We've got a claim where she, of course, didn't have consent. She concedes she didn't have, the first time we testified, of course she didn't testified that she didn't believe she had consent, and I'm paraphrasing again, or permission to access his phone. She didn't have permission to go into the computers after hours at his work to attempt to access the computers at work. Another dishonest act. I'm going to tell you, any one of us had a spouse or ex-spouse that was going to our office or to your computer or phone trying to do it at night. You would be like, what are you doing? That's a crime. I mean, it's criminal. Says she tried to access his laptop too. Never referred to it as marital property anywhere, except after she's facing potential jeopardy, her answer changes. She told the police, she testified before you, sworn her oath, that she told the police about disabling the cameras. We hear today, that's not true. So when someone omits something or conceals something important, particularly something that puts them in a false or negative light, that weighs on their credibility. And I would posit to you, Judge, that Mrs. Scardarasi's credibility is zero. When I asked the officer the question today, when I asked him specifically, is there any evidence? Because that's what the police are supposed to do in theory, right? I mean, they're supposed to go out and attempt to collect evidence. The court questioned me about why I was getting into hearsay and why I, at the end of a sentence here or there, or that. But that's what the police are supposed to do, is to attempt to gather evidence. Either evidence, they had plenty of evidence that Mrs. Scardarasi had committed crimes, plenty. And I would posit to you, with all due respect to Your Honor, with all due respect to the Brownstown Police Department, and with all due respect to the prosecutor's office, were the tables turned and a male had done this, and a female had made the claim, and a man who had moved out of the home and during the course of a marital separation, that the man went into the home and that this had happened, I suggest to you, Judge, that things would be much different. There is no way that man would not, under those circumstances, I cannot think of a circumstance in which the tables were turned that the police would be treating Mrs. Scardarasi, or in that case, treating the male as the victim. Man takes his ex-wife's or soon-to-be ex-wife's phone, comes into the house late at night. She's only been there in the morning to help get the kids off to school. She hasn't been there on her own before that. She hasn't been there for a week. She's not laying down and sleeping there. She comes there at 1 a.m, disabling the cameras, and comes in. And then imagine a male doing that, sneaking into the home, disabling the exterior camera, sneaking in, crouching down in the kitchen, being caught in lies about whether you would beckon the dog over or not. And then he then takes his wife's phone off her sleeping chest, but there's no evidence that he had permission to do that. And he then leaves the house and goes into his car a block away and tries to find out who she's talking to or whatever, tries to access. That guy would be charged. Why? Because it's dishonest and it's criminal. For our purposes here, put aside the criminal for a second, it's dishonest. What Mrs. Scardarasi did is dishonest. And what I would suggest to you, what she did, is that the police then attempted there's absolutely no corroboration of her account whatsoever, zero. And the only evidence of her account that's been offered today and yesterday and previously are inconsistencies and contradictions. And I would suggest, Judge, that there is no evidence upon which the court should confidently and comfortably bind over. I recognize the burden of proof is low. I recognize that it's only by a probable cause standard, but it's still a standard. And if you start at zero, don't not start halfway, but if you start at zero, so we've got, imagine if you would, like a meter that goes from 0 to 100, and you have to get to 51. Or whatever the courts these days interpret as, I know that's a preponderance of the evidence, but they interpret the phrase probable cause, which should have some meaning. Imagine you start at 0. We've got her word, which ticks up a little bit. But then each word, each allegation that she's offered, you've got contradictions and inconsistencies. And on top of that, you've got criminal behavior. I would suggest you get nowhere close to probable cause. Let me add this. I know that the question was asked of the officer, well, do you always arrest people who have, when there's an allegation of domestic violence? And the answer was no. But you, Judge, I asked that question for a reason. Where there is reasonable cause to believe that an act of domestic violence occurred, you can make an arrest. And the police typically, or I would say regularly do. And in this case, they didn't. Why? Because there's no evidence of it. And on top of that, they want you to bind over not just an allegation of assault with a dangerous weapon, but they want you to bind over on felony firearm. They don't even have a gun in evidence. They don't have a gun, they don't have the gun. Let me posit this to you, Judge. If in theory, if as the state says, and it accepts Mr. Scotarassi's account that in some way that Mr. Scotarassi used a gun in this way. So the police are coming out to Mr. Scotarassi's house. They come out there. He doesn't know when. How would they know when? They drive out to the house. They have every ability to conduct a search, whether it's by consent or whether it's by search warrant, of the entire property, his home, belongings, places, compartments, any place, car. And if they don't have his consent, they could certainly seek to wake you up, which I certainly hope that you wouldn't mind, but I'm sure you've been woken up plenty of times to sign search warrants, and they could wake you up and say, Judge, we've got a case where there's an allegation of a man who is alleged to have committed a crime of assault with a dangerous weapon and domestic violence, and this gun we don't have it. And we don't have reason to believe that he left the house and put it somewhere, which means we have reason to believe it's in the house, or the alleged victim has it. I bet you'd sign that search warrant. And well, they didn't do that. They didn't seek a search warrant. I would tell you that this is a scary case for anybody that's going through a separation or a divorce. It is incredibly scary that someone can take the stand, admit to a bunch of criminal activity, be as dishonest and I haven't just made the generalization that she's been dishonest, but pointed out specifics about her dishonesty and her lack of credibility on key points. If she would testify that the gun was pointed at her neck and sat here and tried to actually deny what was on the video that we played for, tried to deny that she claimed that the gun wasn't pointed directly, that she denied saying that the gun wasn't pointed directly at her. She tried to claim that she told the police officers, she demonstrated for me that the gun was pointed at her neck like I'm doing now in some way. You're telling me, and the police officer here testifies, the video shows that's not true, and the police officer testified that's not true, and yet there's a request by the state to have Mr. Scotarassi bound over based upon that person's word, and I would suggest that that is shameful. And I asked the court to dismiss the case. Now, I recognize, by the way, that if you dismiss the case doesn't end. Excuse me, I should make that an important point for the state to point out. Doesn't end, does it?
No.
All you could do is dismiss counts 1 and 2.
Correct.
And it would leave a domestic violence case before you, which I recognize is all we can do today, is to seek a dismissal of counts 1 and 2, and that's what I'm doing.
Thanks.
Your Honor, I'm not going to lecture you. I'll keep it short. But
You're not going to lecture me?
I didn't lecture you.
I really want to reel it back in. And I want to focus on the third element of assault with a dangerous weapon, which is that at the time the defendant had the ability to commit a battery, or appeared to have the ability, or thought that he had the ability. The defense has said a lot here, and specifically regarding the gun and whether or not it was near her head or pointed. Regardless, these are questions of fact. Whether a gun is near your head or pointed at your head, a person would be reasonable to believe that the person holding the gun has the ability to cause injuries. The reasons why she was there that night are all extraneous factors here. They are all irrelevant, and they are all questions of fact for the trier of fact. They are not relevant here today for this probable cause standard. She indicated that she didn't want him to know she was there and that she had entered that way because she was in fear of him. All of the allegations about her acts and whatever crime that she had allegedly done. First, she testified that they were married, that she had a key to the house, that she was allowed to go there freely. And she testified truthfully the entire time. He claims that she was dishonest. She was very honest, and she said everything she did that night and why she did it. Again, all of these factors are questions of fact for the trier of fact. It's probable cause standard. She testified consistently to what happened that night, and she testified consistently to what she said to the police that night. She said that there was a gun near her head and that she was in fear of her life. Any allegations of her incredibility are questions of fact to be heard at a trial, and we move for a bind over arrest charge.
All right. I always feel like when I start these exams and then they continue 2 weeks later and continues a couple weeks later than that, that I'm, how do I say it, a little bit at a disadvantage. I mean, I'd like to think my memory is as sharp as it was 30 years ago, but I'm not so sure about that. But I am sure that defendant is charged. We have 3 counts: felonious assault, felony firearm, and domestic violence. And this arises out of an incident which occurred on April the 10th, 2024 in Brownstown Township. And the scene of the alleged crime occurred at, was it 25801 Chelsea Creek Drive in Brownstown. Ms. Scottarossi indicated that she and the defendant, Mr. Scottarossi, separated a week earlier, and that she had at that time been living with her mother since she moved out. She had a key to the home and would come there in the morning and get the kids ready for school. There was a lot of testimony concerning the comings and goings of the victim in and out of the defendant's business and the residence that they occupied together until she'd left the week prior. After attempting to access codes from a computer at the defendant's business, which was named, I believe, Silver Touch Landscaping in Romulus, and she did have a key to that business, she then went to the residence again at 25801 Chelsea Creek in Brownstown. And I believe that the testimony was, and I think it's kind of confirmed here, my recollection was that it was sometime initially between 12 and 1 a.m. when she arrived at the business and then went over to the residence on Chelsea Creek. Sometime around 1 a.m. or whenever it was, early morning of April the 10th, she acknowledged that she did disable the security system, that she was secretive, and she gained access to his phone. She wanted to delete some spyware from her computer and believed she could do that if she could access the code in the defendant's phone. She drove to the Kroger parking lot after she entered the home and acquired the defendant's phone. And I believe the testimony was she wasn't able to access the code. She returned to the residence and was ultimately encountered by the defendant. She testified that after the defendant observed her, he walked to the end of a table and picked up his gun. I don't see anything in the video to corroborate that or to indicate that that is untruthful. She testified that at some point the defendant was about 15 feet away and he walked through a gate and came up to her, grabbed her in the back of her hair, and placed the pistol under her chin. That was the testimony. She had it pointed, and I specifically asked her, I believe, was the left side of her neck where she was just indicating that that was in court. She indicated that the gun was a 9mm Smith & Wesson, and that the defendant had his finger on the trigger pointing it under her chin. That was the testimony again in court. She further testified that the defendant said, "Give me my effing money." I'm not going to state the whole word, to which she replied, "I don't have your money." According to the victim, the defendant stated, "I'm going to kill you." And the defendant then stated, you know who else I'm going to kill? ? And according to the victim, the defendant looked at the kids' bedrooms and said, everyone. She's testified that her response was something to the effect that you better hope so. The victim testified that she was scared and in fear for her life. The defendant then put the gun back, according to her, in his waistband, pretended he was going to punch her in the face, stopping 1 inch from her face. Their dog, a Rottweiler, then, she said, got excited and jumped on the defendant. Ms. Scadarassi then left the residence and drove to the Brownstown Police Department. I don't think there's any question but that there are a lot of inconsistencies in the testimony here. I mean, you could point out several inconsistencies in her testimony. Some of which may have been or may not have been deliberate. But 2 facts are clear. No matter how he had the gun pointed, if that's believed, that it would constitute a felonious assault. I don't care if he's pointing it at her neck with the barrel specifically pointing it at her, or if he's waving around the gun somewhere near her head and saying, I'm going to kill you. Again, all we need is an attempt to commit a battery or a reasonable apprehension by the victim to receive an immediate battery. And then you need an intent to make somebody reasonably fear an immediate battery. And third, also that the defendant had the ability, thought he had the ability, or appeared to have the ability to commit an assault, and fourth, that he used a dangerous weapon. So in my heart of hearts here, I'm very confident that I'm correct in binding over the defendant. There's certainly a fact question here. Credibility issues like this are going to be for the jury. A lot of what the defense points out may very well be persuasive to a jury, and whether the people can prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt is another issue. I will say, for the record, as long as we're talking about credibility, while I found some of her statements inconsistent, she is either one tremendous actress or she appeared to be very credible to me, at least by her demeanor on the video when she was speaking to the police officer. So for those reasons, the court finds probable cause exists to believe that the crime of felonious assault was committed, as well as felony firearm. I'm going to bind the defendant over to the circuit court. The AOI date will be 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, since the defendant is not in custody. And you do not object to the continuation of the bond, correct, counsel?
No objection, Your Honor.
So I'm going to go ahead and continue the bond. If everybody will just give me 1 minute, please. Before 3:18, 3:25. And the AOI date will be on April the 8th, Criminal Justice Center, on the charges contained in the complaint. Obviously, the domestic violence will accompany that. Is there anything else you need to bring up, Ms. Alloway?
Nothing further, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Rockine?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Nice to have you here, Mr. Rockine.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, sir. Thank you. You can go right down the hall and get your notice. Thank you. Thanks. And you just retain the thumb drive then,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Rockine?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Have a good day, Your Honor.
You too, thanks. Okay, that guy you introduced.
Oh, I will.
Take care. Good to have you here.
Yes, sir. Thanks.